All right, welcome back, everybody, to Utah Motorsports Campus. ChampCar.live back up and running again for our our second wind, I guess we could say, Doc, as we continue on in this broadcast of our second of three 24-hour races this year. Paulie, along with Doc and Tiffany, here this weekend, covering this race, going into the evening here out at Utah Motorsports Campus in Tooele, Utah, the Rocky Mountain 24, as we're calling it. Visceral Racing Group still holding on to P3 when we last left you. You've got Son of Andre still up front. Arbank Racing pitted and is back out. Alchemy Autosport currently in the pits along with the Bandits Pontiac Trans Am. I want to thank everybody for joining us on our Facebook Live feed and our YouTube live channel, which is ChampCar.live. As we continue our race coverage of this 24-hour race, which went green at 10:09 a.m. Mountain Time in Utah, and we'll check her at 10 a.m. tomorrow, Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Just 13 hours and 41 minutes away.
Hey, wow. What a regular walk in the park.
That means we haven't hit the halfway yet?
Nope.
Yep.
Not yet. Okay.
Nope, not yet.
I'm going to need a nap.
So we, before we left, we were watching this video, onboard video with the Visceral Racing Group as we were catching up with the Bandits Pontiac, where they lost control of the car and slid off to the right suddenly. Looks like under braking. You might have been trying to pinch the car to get it back to the right to pick up that corner, to line up for that corner, and lost control of the car. And it went sailing off to the right very abruptly. Fortunately, they got the car back onto the racetrack, and they didn't really lose any significant time from that. They were able to get the car back out there, so that was the good news for them. We were a little bit concerned, of course, when you leave the racetrack at an angle at that rate of speed. At other racetracks, you would be in danger of impacting something like a guardrail or something like that, but this track has a lot of open tarmac at runoff zones. They have places to go, so fortunately they were able to recover the car and get back going again. Now, right now, it looks like they're in the pits at this time. We also got a report from Andrea that Bill is headed back onto the racetrack in his car. So we'll check to see if they got that camera up and running right now. And it doesn't look like it's up and running just yet, which they may be just doing some testing, Doc. I don't know if they feel like they are really ready to go out and attack the course right now, but their camera is not running inside that car.
Well, the camera's the least of their worries, so
I think we ought to bring him back in and get that camera sorted.
I'm sure you guys enjoy that, right?
He's probably pretty tired. I'm not sure he's even driving, but he was scheduled to go in the car next. So that's Racing Strong Motorsports and that MR2 that Bill's always talking about.
Has Bill mentioned that car before?
Have I told you about the fact that we won at BIR a couple weeks ago? I think it gets mentioned enough, maybe, that everybody's heard about it.
Once,
yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
Lord knows, Paulie, if I ever win one of these things, you will never hear the end of it.
Likewise.
Cool. So we've got Son of Andre up front. About 5 laps up on Arbank Racing, who's in P2. There you can see the racehero.io feed that I'm picking up right off the web, which you can do the same by going to racehero.io, or you can pick up their app in the App Store if you have an iPhone, or Google Play if you are an Android user. You can follow along with the same information that we have here, showing Bandits and Alchemy Autosport in their Miata, which used to be called Miata PI. You might recognize that name, which was they've been around for a while and been very successful.
Absolutely, and I think Andrea, she texts us a quick note that the 37 had been in. With their power steering problem. I think it's the 7 Bandits Pontiac Trans Am she's talking about.
Probably. And there's the Wabbit back in for a pit stop.
Waska wee Wabbit?
Yeah, the vintage Volkswagen Farfignugan D-Class car. No, B-Class car.
1980. Yeah, that's
vintage sweetheart. Yes.
I tell you, the car I'd love to campaign. You'd have to do a swap in it, I think, to make it competitive. But I love the old Scirocco's. I owned one.
Oh yeah.
And this is when I worked for VW Porsche magazine, and I got every part that came in that fit that Scirocco, and we made it into a pretty respectable rocket car. I used to do cross-country trips, and that thing would run all night at 120. But it was I had the 83 model. The styling was by Pininfarine. You know, when the Scirocco first came out, it was kind of squared off. Well, this is the swoopy one. It was all the curves were muted and stuff. That was a fun car to drive.
Casey has one.
Does he really?
He does.
I'm
he collects things.
Now.
That's what we're calling it now, at least.
I'm jealous. The other car that I owned that would be fun to campaign was I had a 79 Triumph Spitfire. Now that thing was horribly underpowered, but great looking styling. You know, the front hood, the bonnet flipped up the way it should, you know, pivot on the nose. And it seemed to me there was a lot of room in there. You could drop something huge. I don't know what the starting VPI is, but I bet you it's like 100.
Yeah, I want to do a Datsun 510, but that requires money.
I think a 510 would still be a great platform.
I do believe so, too. I happen to know somebody who knows a lot about that stuff.
Do you now?
Yeah, and he's got me convinced that it would work. But again, there's that whole financial side of it.
Yeah, that keeps us from all doing stupid things.
Probably better off.
It's probably for the best. Hey, Chris Huggins is on our Facebook feed. Welcome, Chris.
Andrew says, someday he's heading back out onto the racetrack.
Oh, Bill?
Talking about Bill, yeah. Someday he might be going out.
I guess that means he hasn't made it out yet.
No,
Yeah,
I've been
doesn't
watching.
sound like
Still hasn't really gone out yet. So if you're just joining us, we've been playing around with some new techniques of getting information into the broadcast, and one of the things we're doing is we're capturing some of the chat that's been going on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook channel. We've got this little widget that we're using now, as it's called. That's the little gray box to your left on the screen. So if you message us something on our Facebook feed, it will appear there. And likewise for YouTube.
For me, but I got it open on my
MacBook
Pro.
Okay. Yeah, I'm able to.
It's cool.
I think the viewers can see it certainly. Well, I'm watching on I think it's just like a 19 or 20-inch screen. It's pretty
I've
small.
got a smaller screen too. So
yeah.
And your image doesn't fill up my screen, so.
Right. You're looking at the whole desktop.
Right. So I see Nathan Gardner's joined us. I think he won a race recently. No comment?
I'm sorry, I'm reading other comments. He's talking about
I was like, I thought you'd jump on that one. Okay.
pull Bill back in, worth it. I don't know what that means exactly. But, like, I guess we're not good enough. They want to hear Bill talk. I don't know.
Oh, is that the way they feel?
I don't know. I'm not. Is that? How do you read? I guess you can't read that. So, what were you saying?
Nathan had joined us, and it seemed to me I recall him winning a race recently.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody told me that. I can't remember where I heard that from, but so I may just have to take his word for it.
Well, actually, it's funny you bring that up because we happen to have a trophy here. First place, it says there.
Yeah, it does.
A really sweet trophy from our race at Brainerd International Raceway. We won just a couple weeks back on the Donnybrook.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And they let me take the checker and bring the trophy home, too.
What was that, Tiffany?
So he doesn't mind showing it off at all?
No, I believe I've seen that.
Oh, have you seen it before?
I think I did.
It is a very nice trophy.
It is.
I'm sorry.
It makes noise, too.
Yeah, it's got little nunchucks on it.
Hey, is the camera still working in the Commentator's Cup trophy?
Yes.
Okay.
It's still blinking. I have to ask your buddy Jeff, I guess.
Yeah, we'll have to get that feed from him one of these days. Oh, wait. One of the bosses is watching, guys, on Facebook, so.
Oh.
Jeff,
Hi, Andrea.
Yep, Jeff Burdett's back with us, too. Speaking of the Commentator's Cup. Yeah, you're going to have to share that link with us one of these days, Jeff. So we can look at the back of Paulie's head. I don't know if you heard, but he did rescue it from the garage.
Oh, Morgan's saying, just please send them back out with a working camera. That's what they're talking about.
I think I saw Bill's car leaving pit row. I happened to catch that reflection.
Oh, did you? Okay.
And it was a bright yellow car.
I know it was coming up. We obviously don't have control over him setting up the camera in his car.
We don't have control over Bill on anything he does.
Oh, yeah, we always do. In this case, it's unusual that we don't have control over Bill Strong. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But Andrea's saying, hey, he's at pit out. So, okay, thanks for that, Andrea.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I thought I saw a yellow streak.
Let me get... So, I'm going to capture this little guy. We'll bring it back over to the tower cam feed. So, we've got that there, too.
So this is a rather long stop for Alchemy Autosport, and Visceral's retaken third position.
Yeah, there's the current running order as we have it. Of course, this isn't official information as we've described before. This is all third hand, and even if it was directly coming off of the timing and scoring computer, that's not official until the race is called.
Frankly, anything we say is pretty much unofficial.
Right.
We're officially unofficial.
But we are entertaining.
Wait. We're officially
You got to give us that. So,
well, we think we are anyway.
I've decided.
Matters, right?
Decided we're there. Son of Andre up front, leading the race up about 5 laps over Arbank Racing in their Saab 9.3 Turbo. Visceral Racing Group now, as Doc just mentioned, overtaking their 9th spot for P3 in this race. Overall, second in C class, 7 laps back from P2. So they're in a great spot. Alchemy Autosport still in the pits. The number 30 Mazda Miata, formerly Miata PI in P4. Gussick Racing in 5th. Bucket List in 6th. Roto Pluker in 7th. The Renegades in 8th. And Volatile Ram in 9th, with Bandits in 10th, but still shown in the pits. I'm really concerned about those guys. They've been in the pits a long time.
Well, and I think that's the car that Andrea was talking about that was having a problem with their power steering.
Right, which, of course, these big American cars, they have those terrible power steering systems. It's likely they've had a failure either with the pump or the high pressure line.
Well, and I wonder if he had a problem when he went off track.
It's possible. It's very possible that something was damaged in that process. Yeah.
She said he was smoking, so that would seem to indicate maybe a tire rub or maybe that hot power steering fluid getting on their exhaust. Who knows?
Sure. That would do it. Very possible. Of course, you got a V8 engine with headers on both sides of their manifolds on both sides of the engine, so any oil leakage from up front is going to stream down the block and eventually get onto those exhaust manifolds and start burning off. So if they had a high pressure line that started leaking due to the loss of control that they had, or vice versa, whatever the case may be, we don't know. A lot of supposition, but it's possible that that could explain why they have an extended stay in the pits. Hopefully they can get that car back out there.
Right.
But right now it's looking like Son of Andre in control of this race still. They've been in control for quite a few hours now. And Racing Strong, Bill taking his car back out of the paddock. They've been in there since 5:30 Eastern. They pull out at 10:30 roughly Eastern. So that's about 5 hours in the pits to resolve a driveline issue. I'll take a quick peek and see if their car camera has come back up. And if it has, of course, we'll go to that camera immediately. Otherwise, we'll
because that's the kind of guys we are.
That's right.
We are.
We're just genuinely kind like that. So we're on board with the Visceral team right now. We don't have the MR2 camera up yet, but we'll ride along with them, and maybe we'll see the MR2 out there. I'm going to scroll down the list on the RaceHero.io running order, and it shows that the let's see if I can find it. There it is. Currently in P19, and he is turning laps. So turning lap 73, it looks like.
I'm really proud of that number 12 car, that Utah Valley University Miata. I know they were severely budget crunched. They only had one set of tires for the race, but hey, you know, for a brand new build, they're running in 13th place.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah. So I hope their tires hold out, because, again, they only have that one set. Maybe if you're a Miata team and you're dropped out of the race, you go maybe help them out if you can.
That would be great.
Because they do the same for you.
So looks like the lights have come on the race cars as they're coming by. Hi, Alex. Hi, Sam. We've been talking about you, Sam. I hope your ears have been burning. All good stuff.
All good stuff, Sam.
Visceral Racing Group just goes by in that newly painted American flag liveried Porsche 944, currently in P3. They find themselves. And as I said earlier, this is a racetrack that you're going to earn every 10th of a second that you get. Andrea sending me a message that Visceral now getting ready to come in for a driver change.
That's a little early for them, but I could see that happening. Oh wait, they're off on their pit cycle. Never mind. This is entirely normal for them.
Right? Aren't they on like about the half hour? So
yeah, yep.
So this will be as expected for them. And we'll just stay on this camera to see if we see that yellow MR2 come by that they've been working on for several hours to get that car back onto the racetrack.
See, Bill's always saying, "Oh, the black car's in, the red car's in." The one car you can say the yellow car is in, we all know who it is.
Well, so I'm up here now. If you guys want to have if Bill, I don't know if Bill's told you all what happened, but I can kind of give you a recap if you want.
Cool.
Go ahead, Troy. So, what's the story?
The passenger outer axle CV broke.
Let me know, mate.
Hold on.
Please, I haven't got the game to work yet. It's still showing 000. I don't have time to look away.
It takes like 2 laps for it to calibrate to the track, Bill. You don't get a time until you have a couple laps. Just give it some time. So Bill's in the car now, and took us 5 hours to fix it. So it broke the axle stub, and it broke the hub too. And then we had to put a new one in, but Bill didn't have a complete axle made, so we had to kind of make one together with the balls and everything falling apart. So that took a couple hours, and then we went to put the hub on. Then the brakes wouldn't fit because it had to be sanded down. Then he remembered that, so he grinded on that. And then we had to the tie rod bulb and bearing was a different size. The stock one that we have is smaller. We use bigger ones from a Camry in there because they're like $2 and they hold up better. But he never switched this other hub over. So we didn't have any other solution. So he drilled it out. So hopefully it'll work. And then drilled it out and got it to work. And 5 hours later, we got it fixed. We had dinner, rested a little bit, and then we put Bill in. And he's going out now in the day to night stint so he can try to learn it before it's dark.
Sure.
So that's pretty much the story. He's back out. He's excited to be out there. Let's see how quick he learns, and we'll see how much smack talk he comes when he's back in here.
I'm sure there will be plenty.
Pretty, yeah.
Bill, smack talk? Never.
Troy, thanks for coming back up to the tower and letting us know what was going on. We appreciate that.
Welcome.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Enjoy.
You can hang out with us as much as you want to. I'm sure it's still well above 90 degrees out there, and being in the tower's got to be a little more comfortable, isn't it?
It is. It's a little bit more. Once the sun went away, the sun is on the. It's kind of like the evening where the sun's not on you anymore. I guess you get used to it being 97. So in the 80s here, it's like, oh, this is quite nice.
Yeah, it's a regular cold snap.
Yeah, we're like, oh my God, I'm not sweating so much. But I mean, we were all talking about how much we've been drinking, and I probably had like a dozen 12-ounce things of water and probably like 6 or 8 Gatorades, and still only peed once today. And we're like every time one person gets a Gatorade or water, they get like 2 or 3, and we're like forcing ourselves to drink, and it's still not enough. It's kind of it's crazy how quick we go through it, and you don't even realize it.
You want to watch that if you're not going to the bathroom often. That's one of the signs. If you're drinking a lot and still not hitting the restrooms, that's kind of a little warning sign.
And the other one was Evan, our driver, has chapped lips now too. So and he's drinking a lot, and that's a later sign of dehydration, a pretty bad one. So we're like, dude, that's not good. He's like, but I mean, you can only drink so much and do so much. But yeah.
Well, I mean, my lips get chapped out there in a heartbeat.
Well, you are pretty sensitive, so that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Mine get chapped at every race, but it's because of all the kissing.
Kissing ass you do?
No, it's not that.
Oh.
It's all the other kiss. I don't know where that came from.
I know. Let's just leave that alone.
That was a dot comment. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going down a long tangential road that we don't want to go to see.
Right. Well, you know the only difference between brown nosing and ass kissing, right? It's depth perception.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to use that.
Be my guest. I know I stole it.
So we've decided we want Bill to come into the pits and fix his friggin' camera so we have another in-car camera. We're tired of riding around with one car.
When did his cut out? A while ago?
Well, when you brought it in.
It just got too hot.
I don't know. I guess I figured he turned it off because it was in the paddock.
Well, we didn't really have a easy up in the right spot because we had to put it over the rear wheel. So it was right in the.
Sure.
It probably just sat there and baked and got too hot and turned off. I can radio to him and tell him, hey, you need to pit so we can get a camera working.
Yeah, I'm sure that'd go over well.
Ron is getting in, number 53 going behind the wall. Okay, I don't know who that is, but
I think
right.
Ron is one of the Visceral drivers.
Oh, okay. She told us that they were doing a driver change, so that makes sense.
And they are indeed shown as not circulating right at the moment. The little pit thing hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah.
And the number 53 is the tachophobic racing?
Yeah.
Bandit still shown not circulating, as they apparently are working on a power steering issue. That's our best guess from what the little information that we have. We haven't actually talked to the team or anything.
No, but that's that
we
team that came in with the power steering problems is number 7.
We've just decided that's it.
Yeah. And who's to argue with us, frankly?
No one.
Exactly. You don't think these race
Which is the way we like it.
Are accurate, right?
Your race reports are awesome, by the way, Doc.
Thanks. I appreciate it. They're a lot easier to do than those damn board meeting minutes. Oh, yeah. God, we got a bunch of people that like to talk a lot. That was the nicest thing I've said today.
There's Visceral heading back out. So, Troy, can you still hear us?
Yes, I can come back.
I was just wondering, you said it was the passenger side axle, outer axle or something that failed on the car.
It's actually the passenger outer hub. The
rear
nut,
though, right?
The nut and the threaded part sheared off.
Ah.
So it sheared off, and then it destroyed the hub too.
Was this the left rear?
The right rear.
It's the right rear. Oh, so this was a different one than he was looking at earlier.
Right,
where the nut was loose.
The earlier one was the driver's side was loose. So that's why we thought that one would have broken. We're like, hey, the other one broke. Well, that's kind of weird. So we'll see. We'll see how long we go now.
Well,
okay.
Hopefully it's a long time.
Yeah, me too. I'm thinking that. Mm-hmm.
So who goes in next? Are you heading in next?
Yep, I head in next. So
okay.
I was going to hang out in the air conditioning for about an hour just to make sure my core gets cool before I get in. But
I think that's a good idea.
I bought a Kula-Clava. I don't know if you guys
the head thing.
Yeah, I bought that, and if people don't know what it is, it's like a cool suit for your head, and you put it in your helmet or under your balaclava. And apparently, I have an older fast cool suit shirt, and the connector didn't work on it. So I was like, great. But the other guy, who his name is Matt, he's had heat exhaustion a couple times, and once you have it a couple times, you get more prone to it in the future.
Right.
And I let him use it. I'm like, well, I'm not using it. Use it. And he had the newer cool suit shirt, and he came out and he felt energized. He's like, it doesn't make your head cold, but it keeps it cool and it does pull heat off. And he said it made like the world of difference, because anytime he's ever been in a car where it's been like 97 or 95, he comes out with headaches, exhausted and tired, and he came out with energy. He's like, this made all the difference in the world. So
cool.
I'm glad I could lend it to him. I'm like, I wish I could feel it myself, but I just have to get some new connectors or a new shirt.
So neither one of you guys had any issue with that room-wise, getting it into the helmet?
No, I mean, it took 2 people, because I guess we did the first time. You have to make sure that the hoses don't kink. Like, we put them next to his neck, because at first it was kind of kinking underneath the Hans device.
Right.
So you had to make sure it cleared the Hans device and go. And we went down through the shirt, through inside the shirt, and then had to come out. And then we had to, if anybody does, you have to label each hose. So like the hoses, because you need the cool suit water to go through your shirt first and then your helmet.
Right.
Because otherwise it's too cold on your head. So we put some silver tape on the outlet in the car, and then we put some silver tape on the shirt inlet. So then you just go silver to silver, so you know which ones to do in the dark or something.
That makes sense. I wouldn't even have thought of that because the cool shirt,
Great
you can
idea.
plug it in
Yeah.
either way because it circulates, on its own.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it doesn't matter. And I did it like when I got in the car in the pits, I had Bill come over. I'm like, hey, Bill, I need you to switch the lines because the cold border was going all on my back first, and I wanted to go on my front first.
Right.
So I feel more comfortable with on my front first, then on my back, and then down.
Right.
So
yeah, and I don't know if I don't have one of the thermostats. Ours is either on or off.
yeah, this one's on or off too. Some people like thermostats, but
Visceral Racing Group is pulled off.
yeah, there's a car off on track.
Yep, that's Visceral.
Visceral is we just moved to their camera to see them pulling off. He's trying to start the car.
What place were they in? Or are they?
They were P3. They were running strong all day long. I wonder if they're overheating.
He's going now. He's going again. Well, that's weird. He's going really slow, though.
Yeah, we just kind of caught him pulling off and coming to a stop and then refiring the car. And now the camera feed is kind of locked up, so we'll come back to it. Maybe that'll release it. Yeah, he was trying to start the car, and then it fired. He's got his gloves rolled up to get some cooling on his arms. Looks like he's still having trouble keeping the engine running. He's slowing again. I can hear him cranking the engine in the background, Troy.
He's in a part of the track that has there's a motocross track out here, and he's in the part of the track that has the motocross track.
There goes Bill live.
Yeah, Bill passed him.
Yeah, he's going. I think he's going really slow. He's about to come into the pit in though.
Yeah, he should be close. He was in stadium turn, I think they call him, or something like that. Clubhouse turn.
Oh no, there's there's 67 turns out here, so
He's trying desperately to get the car into the pits.
Yeah, he's going.
Got it running again.
He's slide in.
Looks like he's going to make it to pit in. Of course, Troy, you could see in more real time than we can, but it looks like he's rolling around into pit in right now.
Yep. He's at the inbox and he's stopping, and let's see.
It's Andrea.
Yeah. Oh, you guys are about real time now then.
We're pretty close.
Oh, and his pit's right there, so he got lucky.
So we'll go on board with them, and maybe we can get to...
The 813 BMWs in the pits too. They're working on the front wheel, or changing the front wheel, or doing something with the right front wheel.
So he's going to drive it around the paddock and see if he can make it act up again.
Right.
They're still trying to figure out what's going on with this Porsche that all of a sudden stalled while he was out there. I wonder if it's overheating.
It seemed like, yeah, the visceral Porsche just right in front of me had a backfire, and it seemed like it turned off, and then about 15 seconds later he started again and went. So it's backfiring too.
That's not good. It could be an ignition-related issue. Like a failed ignition module would be firing at the wrong time when the intake valve is open or the exhaust valve is open before it has a chance to shut. So P3 pulls into the pits and into the paddock area. He's just driving it around right now. And that's actually our only in-car camera because Bill won't put a camera in his car. I'm so mean.
You are.
Maybe he did it on purpose because he doesn't want to see you guys to actually see him drive.
Oh, well, that's understandable.
Yeah.
What's his lap times anyway? We have information at our fingertips.
Well, he's probably still trying to learn the racetrack. Should we give him the benefit of the doubt?
Okay, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But
Say it again, Bill. Say it again.
Stand by.
Say it again. Say it twice. The radio's not working great.
I suck at this. I suck at this.
Hey, say that again so everybody can hear it. Say it again.
Great driver. I feel like Mario Andretti out here.
Oh, okay. He says, I suck at this. I suck at this. Sure. It's a hard track to learn. Just take your time. It's getting dark, so have fun with that.
After this, let it turn right, and holy crap, that was wrong.
Okay. The little silver MR2 just did a spin right in front. He did it two spins into the dirt. He's going again. I think it's the silver 801 MR2 in the second to last turn.
Okay.
That's what's nice about this track. You can spin twice and not hit a wall and just go in some dirt and come right back out. And they're doing, how is 801 doing now?
801? Last time I had him was in what, 11th?
He's in 9th right now.
9th.
Okay.
But, yeah. So we got the Renegades, we got the Bandits still in the pits. Visceral Racing, of course, we just saw there. Back and they popped into their garage to take a look under the hood with possibly some ignition-related issues. They've got some backfiring going on. And then there's other moments when the car seems to be running okay, and then it stalls. So they're looking at that.
And from a car builder, those are the worst. Trying to find something that's intermittent and it only does it on track.
I know, it's hateful.
I had one where I had 3 races in a row where I'd fail, where it would blow a fuse, and then you'd change the fuse, and it would be fine for like 3 or 4 hours. And it'd blow a fuse again, and it wound up being a wire that was underneath, like we have a duct that comes in the car. So it was just, if it vibrated just the right way, it would ground it out and short it out. But I wound up redoing the whole harness after that. But it was so intermittent, it ruined 3 races in a row, and I'm like, all right, this is, and I never found it. I found, when I took it all apart, I found 2 other issues that could have been potential future failures, so I was glad I did it. But you can chase those anywhere.
Fuses grounding out are the worst because it doesn't take all that much.
No, and what we did was we changed to breakers instead of fuses.
Right.
And you just put them in there, and we had a fuel pump that would do that once in a blue moon. Come to find out, one of the baffles or one of the pieces of metal inside the fuel tank went bad. So eventually it would rattle around and it would just hit like it would ground out and just for like that split second and blow a fuse. But then it would be good for like another 2 races. And then it would finally do it again.
Find that out.
That was, like I think a fuel pump went bad just randomly. And when I was changing the fuel pump, I saw this piece of metal just like when I took the fuel pump out, the tank out, I'm like, something's rattling in there. That's weird.
Yeah,
and there's just a piece, like a baffle underneath the tank. I'm like, really? Come on. Yeah, we have a master list in an Excel that me and Bill and other MR2 teams share.
Right.
So we're like, all right, what failures have you had and why? And then what have we done to alleviate the issue long term?
Right.
And we probably have like 30 different things on there that have occurred to all of us.
Right.
And a lot of them are like just normal, like, hey, we didn't, a wheel bearing. Well, we just learned we got to change those every 3 races, you know, and they're like, how often did you have them in there? And a lot of it's preventative maintenance, but
Sure.
a lot of it's, you know, wiring design, where when you first do a car and you just kind of hack it together, you're like, this works. And then later on, you're like, yeah, this probably wasn't the best.
This doesn't work.
And if anybody's looked at Bill Strong's wiring, then you know that he hasn't gotten there yet. But somehow it just keeps on working. I don't know. He has like 20 different fuses, but he has them in like 6 different places. Like you can find them in the trunk, in the cabin, here. I mean, he's like, oh, that fuse is over here. I'm like, why would it be behind the driver's seat? He's like, well, the wire is there. I'm like, just because the wire is there, you put a fuse there? He's like, well, yeah, it made sense. I'm like, okay.
Left brain, right brain.
Mm-hmm. That's like day before a race, I needed to work, and then the mentality is, well, it worked. It hasn't failed yet, so let's just keep on using it.
Right.
So Andrew Johnson is watching us on Facebook. Says hi to you, Troy.
Oh, hey, Andrew.
And
Fun times.
Sides is
You're missing out.
And yeah, Andrew Sides is on too.
So how many viewers? Is that 3?
Well, let's see. If you count me and Doc, well, yeah, it would be 3.
So he's having a group conversation, a group text here.
It's kind of a private chat.
What I do is I like listening to him like a week later or something. I'll just, when I'm in the shop for like 12 hours working on the car, I'll just put it on my phone and put it on my little speaker and just listen to it in the background and then see what's going on. You're like, oh, okay. Wait. I just wait for Doc's crazy stories about something. I'm like, okay. So hopefully I didn't miss any good ones that I'll listen to it on the way back and stuff.
No, you've pretty much got all of them. You've heard of every story I've got.
Oh, you just keep on repeating them now?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
So that's the great thing about only having a short-term memory like me. They're all new to me.
Where's your next race for your car, Doc?
We'll be at AMP.
Maybe at AMP?
Yep.
I've got VIR 24.
I saw you on there. I meant to ask you earlier, but that was about the time y'all ran off.
Yeah, the reason behind it was I do my schedule in November.
Right.
So how I do it is in November when the Champ Car schedule comes out, I send it to all my drivers. I have a pool of about 10 or 11.
Right.
And I do about 10 races. I list 10 races that I'm willing to go to. I'm not going to do all of them. I'll say I'll do 4 or 5 or 6 depending on who wants what.
Right.
And VIR was a 888. So a bunch of people are like, hey, let's do the 888 VIR. We don't want to do a 24. So I'm like, okay. So they signed up, and I signed up for all the other races, and then I make my drivers, and then I make my drivers give me a $350 non-refundable deposit on races, and then I take that money in the winter and I do all my upgrades, like I do get maintenance items and whatever I'm going to do. I spend it all in the car, and then when they pay me 60 days prior, then I use that money for fuel, brakes, gas, all the other consumables, and we go. So they all paid, and then people complained that VIR wasn't a 24, and then I already got deposits. So I'm like, hey, I need another driver because it's a 24 now, and they're like, so we're doing it.
We found about the right number for us is 6 races a year. When the schedule works out to kind of one every other month. So
yeah, I'm good because I've got Jerry out west and he's got me out east.
Right.
So we wound up doing like 8 to 10, but I'm doing like 4 with Jerry and like 5 or 6 with me. So, but next year I'm only doing 4 or 5. I'm not going to do more, and I'm going to try to spread them out. But it works out good having the kind of West Coast team and the East Coast team where we can kind of do it together.
Sure.
But yeah, no, the last 2 races I learned a lot of what to do from a team management perspective because I haven't done a 24 in a long time. So Nelson's I learned, and this one I learned, and so I learned today I learned what food to bring and how to bring it.
Right.
Like the one guy brought the big tortillas, the burrito tortillas, and he brought a bunch of cold cuts, and he brought some, mayo and some vegetables.
Right. So
tomato and lettuce. So everybody can make their own wraps, and he's like, it's better than bread and it's easier, and you just grab it, make it, and then everybody can kind of manage their own food during the day. And he's got some ham and turkey and stuff. I'm like, okay, well, I can throw all that in a cooler, and then people can just grab what they want.
Right.
But I also realized that I'm going to have to bring a lot more water than I was thinking.
Yeah, VIR is going to be hot.
Yeah, it's going to be real hot. So I'll bring more water. And then at Nelson's, I learned, you know, how hot it is. And then I have a spare cool suit container that's already set up and ready to go. It has the same plug, same outlet. So if ours fail, I could just put it right in.
Sure.
Well, at Nelson Ledges, Jerry had an extra. Oh no, Justin Lee brought an extra one and hooks it up to a battery. So, you know, when we have a window of opportunity, we have to get the driver suit up and ready. Well, it's too hot to get suit up and ready. So we just had the extra cool suit container set up, and just you sit there and you wait. And then when the driver gets out, they sit there and just cool down and chill out. And then it's good to have for the in and out driver that we can just have them hooked up to a cool suit container right away. Give them some drinks, get them ready. And it, you know, and we have a spare one anyway. So I'm like, okay, that's a good idea too. So I try to take ideas from each one for the next try.
I tell you, the things I love is those, now I'm not going to be able to think of the name, those towels that you can buy at Home Depot.
Oh, yeah, the blue ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really like those, Doc.
I love them.
I think a regular shaving towel is actually better.
Yeah?
I think it holds the water better. It's like the other stuff.
Shaving towel.
No, it's not a bathing towel, and it's not a washcloth. It's a little bit bigger than a washcloth, you know. But it's smaller than a bath towel.
It's like a hand towel.
Like a hand towel.
It's a hand towel. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that goes over your
Tiffany,
neck.
Up north, they call things weird names like pop.
Yeah, it'll hold more water, and it just seems to last a lot longer, stay cooler on you. Like if you compare the two side by side, using one and then the other, I mean, I'll give you mine because I'm not really happy with it. I think the hand towel's better. Yeah.
No, you meant what's the name of the company? Cool Mist or something like that?
I don't.
Arctic Cove.
You snap it. You get it wet and you crack it and then you put it over your neck and it's supposed to.
No, this isn't.
No, the one you put in the cooler and let it soak and then you put it around your neck.
Yeah, Arctic Cove.
I don't know. It's basically a chamois.
Yeah.
You know, it's just close cell foam rubber.
Right.
You know, and it soaks up some water and then you put it around your neck. And
I love those things.
Hey, whatever it takes, man. Whatever works for you.
Well, you know, and one of the things you can do for your driver or somebody that's might be on the verge of running into heat problems is put some ice on their wrists. That'll get you down from a danger zone pretty quickly.
Well, looks like they're going to put their driver back in, and they're still in P3.
Yeah.
They still got a couple laps up.
Yeah, had 5-lap lead when they went behind the wall.
So I think if they got this fixed, they might actually not lose anything.
Yeah.
Another way to keep
like 20 minutes. So.
Yeah. Another way to keep yourself cool is to cool your liver. Like a buddy of mine rides his motorcycle all 12 months a year and doesn't care if it's cold. And he has a couple tricks. He has a kidney belt that is like a snowmobile kidney belt that he plugs in. And then he has like the gloves that are like the grips that are warm too. But he says the kidney belt is the best thing because it heats up your blood and then your blood goes to all your extremities and it warms you up from the inside. So if you get the ice and put it on your, you know, kidney, liver area, it'll cool down your blood and then that cools down the rest of your body. Yeah.
Not a bad idea. I know what they gave us in the Navy to wear up, what we wore up on the flight deck was these heavy cotton jerseys. And so you'd sweat into those. And then, of course, once the carrier turns the launch into the wind, it gets nice and cool. But the things weighed about 80 pounds.
Yeah. Another thing that, like one thing I'm doing on my new car is that one of my drivers said he drove, I think it was the Enterprise or one of the bigger cars, and it had a seat blower. So like right around your butt area and your lower back.
All right.
It had a bunch of holes in it, and instead of doing a helmet blower, they hooked it up to there. So it had like maybe a dozen little holes with some hoses hooked up to it, and it blows cool air into the underside of your seat, and it keeps your lower back and your legs and butt cooler, because that's like right where it's contacting, and that can get really warm too. So he said he thought it was like, okay, how good is this going to be? It's going to be terrible, but he said it was amazing. He said it really worked good on keeping you cool, and I'm like, okay, I'm all about driver comfort and keeping myself cool. Now every year I get older, it gets harder, so I got to do what I got to do.
All right, you may get stopped on the way out. So
I don't know how we did it when we started in Lemons years ago. We do VIR 24 and didn't have a cool suit shirt, and then we had the old like $300 or $400 complete suit kit where you have like the super thick underwear and the super thick suit and the cheesy cheap helmet and stuff. And we would race for 2 hours and get out tired, but not like drained and dead. And now we're like, oh, this is terrible. I can't even. If cool suit's not even working, I'm getting out of the car.
Right.
So.
Well, I'm constantly amazed at the old stock car drivers like the Leroy Yarborough and Cale Yarborough and stuff like that. You know, you get out there and race at Darlington for 6 hours on Labor Day. You know, and I don't even know that they had NACA ducks back then. And they got out of the car, and you could tell those are good old boys. They were, you know, pretty worn out.
So Visser will go back out on track, huh?
Yeah, still holding on to their P3 position, according to Race Hero. Just going to listen in here and see if the car seems to be running all right for him. It's starting to backfire again. So he's having the same problem he had before with the drivability as it's heating up. And once again, you can just tell it. You just don't know what a car is going to do until you get it on the racetrack. You can drive it around the paddock. You can drive it around your neighborhood. But until you get it on a racetrack and really go after it,
you know, that,
or put it on a dyno, in this case, you're just not going to know.
That bit us several times. I mean, we were working on my car at my place of work, big industrial park. So, you know, we do laps around the place at about 70 miles an hour, think we'd had the car fixed, and get down to Daytona, and the car just wouldn't run. And so we get back, and we think we'd had it fixed, do the same damn thing the next race at NCM. But it was intermittent. I mean, we went out there at NCM 2 years ago.
Sure.
We ran a practice day. And the car was running great.
Right.
Then Dawson gets in the first stint in the car. It runs great the first stint. The rest of the weekend was a living friggin' hell. The car would run about 5 laps, come to a complete dead stop. And nothing made sense. So we chased that bug for like 3 races.
We had a 3 race. we had a 3 race issue where we were chasing a fuel pump. We had like 5 fuel pumps fail in 3 races, and we couldn't figure out why.
And that's what ours turned out to be, is the damn fuel pump.
Yeah,
Same thing.
We knew it was the fuel pump, and it would go. And sometimes, like in certain like right-hand turns, it would like miss and go down on power, then it would come back, and then eventually the fuel pump would scream, and it would be bad, and we'd change it, and we're like, all right, maybe the wiring, maybe this, maybe all the lines, some of the lines and stuff like that. And it wound up being that the on the MR2 it has 2 vents at the top of it, like on the top tank, and we vent them out and we vent them high into the trunk area. Well, wound up being that apparently one was probably clogged from the years and you just didn't know, and then the other one got clogged. So it wound up being that you'd make your fuel tank and fuel system completely sealed off, and then it would vacuum. So fuel pumps don't like to suck and push at the same time.
Right.
So eventually, you know, you put enough of a vacuum on it that it would do it. But if you open up the tank, it would suck some air in. You're like, okay, when you're fueling, so it would be all right. So, and it just we wound up figuring that out the hard way eventually. But it went through 5 fuel pumps in 3 races, because sometimes it would work for like 4 or 5 hours. Sometimes it would work for an hour. It depends on, you know, I guess how good the pump is that I got that could do both. Right. When it would do, but you know, those are the frustrating ones too. So if anybody has a pump out there, you need to put a good air filter on the vents, not just like a sock or a little piece of mesh or something. You put a real air filter on there, even a little one, and clean it once in a while, because if they get clogged, then it's not a good situation.
Right. Well, we figured out the internal veins in our fuel, in the fuel pump. We had it mounted. I'm trying to remember. We had it mounted north-south in the car, and what we finally figured out was that in cornering, the internals were rubbing against the canister itself. So once we changed it to an east-west orientation, i.e., longitudinal in the car, it solved our problem.
Interesting.
Crazy.
And with premium dudes, it ended up being a mass airflow sensor, which I've seen mass air. That happened to Justin Lee too.
Right.
We cooked a couple engines with a bad MAP sensor.
Well, we've been looking at going to the Miller MAF.
Well, the problem with the MAP sensor is when it goes bad, a lot of times it'll throw you off in some other direction. You'll think it's something else. So you're pulling spark plugs, you're changing fuel filters.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that's not it. But it'll do things that'll make you think it's something else.
Right.
Until you finally nail it down.
Yeah, you end up chasing your tail around.
Yeah.
Yeah. At VIR, we chased our tail for the one driver was in there, and he'd go out and do 1 lap, and it would miss, and he'd come back in. We'd change like a MAF, go back out. We changed coils. We changed this. We spent like 4 hours, and we probably had him go in and out 30 or 40 times before we figured out it was a fuel pump. And then 2 races later, we figured out why the fuel pump was doing it. But you know, that was a test day where he was in the car for 4 hours, but he would get like 1 lap, come in, wait 10 minutes, 1 lap, come in, and we just kept on making sure the cool suit was good, and he was all right. But he was like, this is so boring. No, that's just it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went.
Let's get
I went through that
here, but
with.
There's a little haze.
Oh, from the tree, the fire out there on the mountain.
It's kind of cool. Once in a while, you'll see a plane come by and drop some red stuff on it and fly away. But it's been burning for days and days now.
Yeah, there's a lot of wildfires.
So apparently, there's some millionaire houses. There's some millionaire houses, and then out in the distance, right in front of the track, is it's like a spotlight or something. Like they're doing like I think that's the country festival. They're doing like searchlights, and they have those going in the sky, so we can see those from the track here. And the haze actually helps because you can kind of see it up into the sky in the haze.
Yeah, we had a situation like that develop at NCM when I was driving for Justin at one of the, I think it was a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, when it ended up being the mass airflow sensor, but we were that kind of thing. I was in the car, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. we're trying gas caps and
Oh yeah,
coils.
you're
and
throwing everything at it.
cam position sensor.
What
and,
other parts do we have in the trailer? Let's throw one of those on there.
Lug nuts, whatever you got, and it took I think we cooked that motor, and I didn't go to the next race, and they cooked that motor too before they figured out it was the mass airflow side. But the thing is, so many guys have these extra parts, and you think it's good, but it isn't. Like you think it's a known good part, you swap it out, and it's still acting weird, and it's because they're both bad.
Right.
You didn't do if you'd have taken it to the dyno and checked them both to make sure they were both good. Like how else do you know? How do you know it's any good? It's been sitting in a cardboard box in your trailer for 3 years. How do you know the thing is still good?
Right.
That's what kills me about doing the normal maintenance on my car is, all right, this wheel bearing has got 2 races on it. It feels great. Could be good for another 10. You don't know. And I'm going to change out to this brand new one, but how do I know the brand new one's good?
Right.
You don't. Well, I think there's 2 cars off on track right now.
Visceral is one of them.
Big dust one. Is it? Okay, because it looks like 2. I don't know if they hit each other. One car is going now, and another car is still stuck out there. But it's a bunch of dust, so cars are driving through the dust. Now the car's going now, so I guess they're both okay, or at least okay enough to get back to the pits on their own accord.
Yeah, unfortunately, I missed it, but we caught it. I just happened to flip over them as he was getting his car turned around and back on the racetrack. So at least we know that Visceral was involved.
They're not having a good hour right now.
No, it's just going really ugly for those guys. The car's not running right. They're having trouble keeping it on the track. Probably a little distracted.
So the 991 Cup car just went out. So I don't know if you guys know about that, but there's a team here that has a shop here. And they paid the race, and they have a new 991 GT3 Cup car that they want to do night testing with.
Wow.
So and it just went by, and it went by because it went by the finish line at like 100 and something, and it just sounded awesome. I'm like, that's not a chump.
Okay,
that's not a champ car. There's no way.
That's not one of us.
No, but it looked pretty and it sounded great.
I bet it does.
But they were specifically told not to, to play nice with everybody and not to race anybody and just pass people where it's safe. So, and they were told that they're gonna be watched very heavily to be good.
Well, that it's funny because you mentioned they're out on the track. I'm sure if we saw that, we had a car that was driving us crazy, and that's that damn car. Who is it that's got the Corvette rear end?
Oh, the 240.
Son of Andre just pulled in to the pits too. They're pitting, and they are not in a rush, but they're not fueling, and they're opening the hood, and a driver is getting out maybe, or they're talking to him.
Yeah, this is not a normal stop for them.
No, they're opening up the hood, and they don't seem like they're in a rush and a panic, but they do have like a 74-lap lead, so why would they be?
Right.
So, Troy, have you seen the Cup car? Was it out earlier?
It wasn't coming out. It hasn't been out yet. This is the first time it's been out. Are you sure? Oh, was it out earlier? Somebody else said it was out earlier, so. I think it was out earlier this evening. It may have been out earlier this evening. But this, you couldn't ask for anything better. How often do you get to do night testing at a track? And it's 4.5 miles, and what do we have, 12 or 14 or 15 cars running?
Right.
So, people might talk down Champ Car, but they've all been out here a long time, and they've all got experience on the track, and they know where it's going. And, if you see a fast Cup car coming up your way, most of the drivers out here today have been playing nice and just getting out of the way when somebody comes up, because it's a 24-hour race, so people know it's not something you got to race to the last minute, so people are playing nice.
Well, Bill's still turning laps out there.
Let's get an update from Bill. Hey, Bill, we're all here live on the feed. Give us an update on what you think of the track while you're out there. Give us some commentary.
Hold on.
Okay, his commentary was, hold on.
He's a man of very, very succinct words,
Yeah, he's really, really playing it up today.
I noticed you didn't say a few words, Doc.
Yeah, no. Once he starts talking, you can't shut the guy up.
Yeah.
I think
He's
this
tired.
was,
He worked on his car for 5 hours trying to get the
It's
axle
way
back in.
different at night. I have no, hold on.
Remember, you are live here, buddy. So you're going out. So don't curse as much as normal. Yeah, the GT3 Cup car went by and, oh yeah, it's hauling. Because this is a long straightaway. They might get up to...
It's getting dusty out here, and the lights are being, I'm getting, what do you call it, dust lines. A lot of guys are going off, and it's hard to see with your lights. And plus, I'm losing, what do you call it? I can only look at the corners and kind of remember where I am with the flag station. I just messed up.
he's losing his positional awareness.
Yeah,
Talking
he
to us
says
and
he doesn't
screwing
know
up.
where he's at pretty much, which doesn't... This track is really hard to learn, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and there's basically no visual markers.
Right.
There.
There's no landmark. There's like one Lucas Oil sign out there.
Right.
And that's, but you
Ain't no
can, but the real problem is the Lucas Oil sign you could see from like...
You turn off my TV screen because it's too dark or too bright.
Oh,
But,
I've turned the brightness down.
like right here, I'm using the arrow, but you gotta trust it, and I don't trust it. When I slow down, I get really loose.
So go
Well,
faster.
go
Right
faster.
here.
That's easy to solve.
Bill, just go faster. What are you doing?
Yeah. You're not supposed to be out there lollygag.
You got to go faster to go faster.
Oh, but I don't trust it.
No,
I don't know
trust
why.
is-
You said you,
I don't have enough.
He doesn't have enough experience on the racetrack to trust that
Yeah.
he can push it that hard
Right.
and get away with it.
what I was saying, some of the landmarks like this, it turns...
Woohoo! I held it.
Okay.
Our bank's right behind me.
Our bank's right behind him, so that'll be good. But what I was saying is that the Lucas Oil sign is a good landmark. There's only a couple of
Tell him
them,
I'm sorry.
but you do so many turns.
Never touched him or anything, but I gave him a big test for him.
Oh God. Okay, so he didn't crash, but the Lucas Oil sign you can
He
see
has
from
way
5 different
breaking
turns.
points than I have.
So you can get confused looking for landmarks because it's the same landmark, but just a different turn and a different angle.
Great.
Like, oh, there's a Lucas sign. I should go left. No, it's right. Ah,
Wait, wrong Lucas sign.
yeah. It's out of my left eye, not my right eye. What am I doing?
Bad sign.
I don't know where I'm at sometimes. That's the hard part.
That looks like the Bandit Pontiac rolling down the garage side of the pits.
Right. Maybe they're
Now,
going to
there's a
come back
lot
in.
of cars going off. I can't see.
Now they're raising
it
up a
looks
lot
like
of dust.
From my perspective here, I can see 3 dust balls where people have gone off, and the dust, there's not a lot of wind here at all, so the dust lingers a long time. So, and it's super
The lights
dry.
are good. It's just with all the dust from everybody going off, you kind of miss your point.
Sounds
Yeah.
like he's having a lot of fun.
All right.
Great,
So
I get to go in next. Fun. Mm.
that Firebird went down to the end of pit row and is back on pit row. So
I'm seeing the Bandit machine, pull back around into the
Yeah.
pits, and they're heading down to go back out on track.
yep, he made the correct turn at the end there towards pit end.
Our Banks is in.
Probably going to come in and complain about that MR2
Andre.
pushing them
Son of
around the
Andre.
track.
So Son of Andre just went back out. I don't know how long they were in for, maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah, about 26 or so. Or 26, about 6 or so.
6 or 7. Yeah, I think our Banks is doing a standard fuel stop pit. It looks like it from here.
Why does everybody call it R Banks?
Isn't that the name?
No,
What's the name?
it's R Bank. It's R Bank Racing.
Oh, maybe because he's got like.
Everybody's slowed down significantly right now. Oh, there's another guy that just goes off, a white car.
The Crown Vic.
That big American car. What do you call him?
Yeah, it's the
Hot
Crown
car.
Vic.
Yeah, it's a Crown Vic just went off in front of him.
Infinity. That's an Infinity.
It's
Oh,
a
they're-
Back on track with the top car in front of them. Now everybody's held up.
the American
There's not an
Infinity.
Infinity here this weekend. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Is there?
There's the J30
Yeah.
out there.
There's a J30, but it's not an American car.
No.
Yeah. Surely Bill's been pulled over by a Crown Vic before.
Yeah.
He's got an old Crown Vic from a long way.
Come on.
Did he ever tell you the story about when he ran from a cop on air?
No.
So he comes up with his MR2 story that he went by a cop and he saw him pull out and he knew all the back roads, so he like flew home, but the cop could kind of see him.
Horses out. Holy shit.
I think the Porsche just went by him. So he runs home and he jumps in his house and the cop pulls up and
Hey, I can keep up with the Porsche. Well, now I can't.
He's trying
Maybe
to
you should just tell him to stop talking before he wrecks the car.
Yeah.
yeah, well,
He's
it's
spending
kind
too
of
much time on
entertaining
the
me though,
button.
but yeah. There's so much runoff here, I don't think you could wreck a car.
No, if anybody could, Bill could find a way. Come on.
He doesn't wreck his car, he wrecks into my car.
Right. Well, you know.
Yeah, Simon. Bill's talking from inside the car. He's just talking through his radio, and we're picking it up.
Yeah, I've got the walkie-talkie right next to the phone. So right next to the computer and phone. But yeah, Bill runs home and then he jumps in the house and the cop comes to the house and checks out the car and he touches the hood of the car with his hand and it was cold because the engine's in the back. And then he just gets in his car and runs and drives away.
That's too funny.
Yeah, he told
That
us
is
that.
funny. Yeah, I'm like, aha.
Well, I was only caught once running from a cop. That was in Alabama.
So we're not keeping track of how long Bill's in the car. We got to figure that out. So, hey, Bill, how long do you think you've been in the car? Just curious. We have no idea up here.
1 hour.
It was like 20 pill or 25
Yeah.
pill the hour when I came out here. I have no clue.
He's right.
Okay.
It was 10:30. I marked it as 10:30, so he's been out there for an hour.
Okay, you've been out for about an hour. You have an hour to go. 1 hour to go.
Wow. This is about a lot.
Yeah.
4 minute 15 out there.
Oh, is that what people are doing? So apparently people are about 30 seconds a lap slower average right now than they were in the day.
You still don't let her in the top 20.
So we need to take off the lens cap off the light.
Copy that. We'll take off the lens caps. And Paulie and Doc said, we need to get a camera working in your car since only one car has a camera. So you're slacking on your duties here. We got to get a camera working.
Trying not to die, damn it.
He said he's trying not to
Hey,
die.
also, thanks for second test being a race car driver. This is hard, dude.
Come on, Bill. Everybody wants to go out in a blaze of glory. We just want it on camera.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean,
This is probably one of the,
take one for the team, Bill.
so is Calabogie. This is one of the hardest tracks. There's so much to do.
Yeah. Even during the day it was hard. Bill has got
I
a
think I'm hitting like 6 Gs.
6 Gs. Yeah, okay.
I mean, everybody's time's fallen off by 20, 30 seconds a lap. Pretty regular.
Wow.
Yeah, it looks pretty dark out there.
Got 20 Gs right there, no poop.
Yeah, most tracks when I've driven at night, there's I'd say about 20% of the field will stay within maybe 5 seconds. And then the rest of the field is about 10, 15 seconds a lap. The 30 seconds kind of makes sense because it's a 3 minute and 15 or a 3 minute 30 second lap. That's probably on par with what normal night races do, just based on the length and complexity of this track.
True. Yeah.
But in Nelson Ledges, I could tell you what, the top 5 or 6 cars were doing just as fast. Like they were within 1 second of their daytimes. And one of our drivers set our FTD at night.
I've got FPD at night.
Yeah, Evan said he had FTD and Tyler's E30 at night too.
I almost had FPD.
Some drivers like it at night and some don't. When I signed up for my 24-hour VIR, I said, well, okay, do you want day?
Yeah,
You want
I
night?
totally lost on that straight. I've got that down the last 4 laps.
Yeah, Bill's getting a little confused where he's out there right now because, you know, one turn looks like another, and you just don't know where you're at here too.
Well, and I mean, Troy, I'm 64 years old. My night vision isn't near what it used to
I'm
be.
making really stupid mistakes, guys.
Does he want to come in?
Hey, why don't you just slow down and try to learn the track at night? Slow down and just beat everybody else is 30 seconds off the lap times. The whole field is slowed down by 30 seconds. You can too.
You got 6 laps on the car that's next behind you, Bill.
Yeah.
And
So what I do with my drivers, I sent to Melissa, I'm like, hey, do you want to do a night stint or a day stint? And actually,
Yeah, I'm making really stupid mistakes. I need some water.
I'll meet him in the
All right.
water.
Evan's going to run down and bring some water to you.
That's okay.
Oh, it's not. Oh, who's behind me, Steve?
Nah.
Matt. Somebody's coming to get you some water, Bill. And
some ice cream too.
yeah, you want some ice cream? So we'll bring you some water and some ice cream, and then you could just take maybe a 10-minute break, just sit in the pits for about 10 minutes, get yourself calmed down and cooled down. Would you want to do that?
Because the pool suit's not working, or I don't have any cold water or something.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's a bad problem. He needs to-
Well, that's the main issue. Then you come in and we'll work on the cool suit because we have to have that.
yeah, you got 6 laps on the car behind you, so you can
Well,
come in
we're
for
like-
10 minutes.
We're 6 hours down, Doc. It doesn't
Yeah.
I
really
just had
matter.
like 2 off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of them was just stupid. I've been taking that corner good every time, and I just tried to make a right turn or never go back. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Go down.
Yeah, they're gonna come down. They're gonna look at the cool suit. So pit this lap. Pit. Oh, I see you're in.
Oh, yeah, he's in.
All right, I'll be in. All right, Paulie, we'll be back in a little bit.
All right, we're going to break for a quick commercial break, guys. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Champ Car Endurance Series is sponsored by RVA Graphics and Wraps, a custom graphics shop that specializes in the design and production of the best quality made-to-order vehicle graphics. And by Lifeline. Lifeline uses the latest technology in motorsport fire suppression and extinguishing and is the leader of in-car fire safety systems using Novec and Triple F foam. And Willwood Disc Brakes. Willwood Engineering is a global leader and manufacturer of high-performance, original equipment disc brake solutions. And Cool Shirt Systems. Cool Shirt's personal cooling systems, vests, and garments offer comfort, safety, mobility, and durability when performance matters. And Maxxis Tires. Maxxis Tires International is committed to delivering high-performance, affordable tires to the world. And Frozen Rotors. Premium cryogenically treated brake pads and brake rotors by Diversified Cryogenics. And OMP Sport, one of the world's leading manufacturers of safety equipment and tuning accessories. And by Racing Radios, the leader in racing communications worldwide, providing quality and affordable communication systems for racers and fans alike. And DiscoveryParts.com, offering the best in auto safety racing apparel. Discovery Parts is a veteran-owned racing and safety equipment company located inside Atlanta Motorsports Park in Dawsonville, Georgia. We take pride in being a reseller of the best of the industry to Champ Car teams and drivers. We know racing, love racing, and look forward to tomorrow to even more racing. Visit us at DiscoveryParts.com.
The Champ Car Endurance Series is North America's home for real, affordable, competitive road racing. We're talking real racing, real tracks, and real cheap cars. We're talking endurance races that range from 7 hours to 24 hours long. The Champ Car Endurance Series races at famous bucket list tracks, including Daytona, Sebring, Watkins Glen, and Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. To live the dream and race in the Champ Car Endurance Series, go to www.ChampCar.org.
All right, guys, welcome back to Utah Motorsports Campus. Paul Veltum here along with Doc and Tiffany at the Utah Motorsports Campus, the Rocky Mountain 24 Champ Car Endurance Series presented by RVA Graphics and Wraps. Nightfall has become. It is 12 hours and 20 minutes remaining, so we're just about at the halfway point of this 24-hour race this weekend. We just heard from Bill. He's coming into the pits to get some work done on their cool suit system, get him some water, help him cool down. Started making some mistakes out there and recognized that he was making mistakes that he shouldn't be making, and wisely, between himself and the team, decided to pull the car in and give himself some time to cool down a little bit, and they could service the car. Cool suit system, get him get his focus back. Of course, it's been a long day. Everybody's getting tired. And just checking the visceral camera. We may not have that camera any longer, which would leave us without any car cameras. So we'll see if we can get that camera back up a little bit later on. So looking at the at Race Hero, you can see there's our current running order. We've got Son of Andre out front with our Bank Racing in P2, Visceral Racing Group in for a short time to deal with the drivability issue on their car. Got the car back out there. They've had some offs, as other teams have as well. As the night fell, the track became more and more difficult to negotiate. But they're keeping it going out there in P3. Alchemy Autosport in 4th and Gussick Racing in 5th. So there is your top 12.
So the Utah Valley University team, this is their first race, right? With us?
I think it is. And they're on a shoestring budget. I noticed that they were asking to borrow tires for their Miata some weeks ago just to make the event, something used, anything.
And they're running 12th in a 24-hour race, and we're well into the race. I mean, their cars lasted this. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there once was a man who did a lot of traveling, and he traveled all over the world. And at one point, he was in Germany. He stopped into a restaurant and had a piece of Bavarian cream pie. And it was amazing. It was the best tasting food he had ever eaten in his life. Anyway, the man leaves, and he goes on to lead a prosperous, fruitful life. One day he gets cancer. It's terminal. He's not going to live much longer. And he decides, before I die, I want to go back to that cafe and have another piece of that Bavarian cream pie. So he sets out on a journey. He charters a boat. He goes out onto the boat. The boat starts to sink. It takes on water. So he bails off into a life raft. The life raft loses air. Now he's in the water. He begins to swim to the shore. Sharks attack him. Biting off. His legs are gone. His arms are gone. He manages to crawl to the shore. Crawls across Switzerland. Crawls into Germany. He's losing a lot of blood. Makes it to the cafe. Crawls into the cafe. Finds an open bar stool. Crawls into that. Says to the waitress, "I'll have a piece of your Bavarian cream pie." The waitress looks at him and says, "I'm sorry. We just sold our last piece." He looks at the waitress and says, "Okay, I'll have a coffee." That's the best I got tonight, guys. I'm sorry.
That was a long story
for a very little payoff.
Really? I thought that was great. All right, I'll have a coffee.
No, that was good. That was good.
Well, I try.
Yeah.
Did I tell you I won a race at BIR? Oh, that got a bigger laugh.
When was that?
It was a couple weeks ago.
Cool.
I was with Premium Dudes.
How come I never heard of that?
I got this trophy. I guess I've been derelict in my duties to show this to you. Was that the 5th time?
Oh, I think you're underestimating yourself.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, guys, we're down to one camera. But we still have one camera that's working, at least for now. Good old Tower Cam 3. And it is a pretty interesting sight. You can see it's kind of bizarre because in the shadow, the reflection makes it look like there's cars going both ways.
And sometimes they are.
There may be. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they really are.
Excuse me.
I don't know. Is this Groundhog Day? No. Brian Beasley gave us the thumb. I think he gave me the thumbs up. He must have liked my joke.
I liked you.
Thanks, Brian.
I liked your joke.
Maybe when they bring Bill in and fix the cool suit, they could get the camera going. That would be awesome.
I don't know. You know, sometimes the night cameras in the cars really aren't all that great anyway. It's a lot of vibration and all of that. I was hoping we'd have some better track cameras, but they have some local track cameras, but all of them are offline. So I'm going to try. I'll take another look at them here while we have a lull.
Andy's reference to Groundhog Day was every time I turn on the podcast, Paulie's talking about his trophy.
I see. That is funny. Reminds me of the movie Groundhog Day, because like he keeps going reliving the same thing over and over again.
Well,
that's
like
great,
I said,
man.
If I ever win one of these things, y'all never hear the end of it.
Oh, that's great. That's really funny.
Yeah, that reflection in the window is pretty funny. Comes somebody into the pits. Ugh.
Yeah, we'll give you a rundown here. I'm trying to get some other cameras up and running, but yeah, we can give you a rundown. So looking at Race Hero, and you've got Son of Andre up front, about 5 laps up on our bank racing. And that's kind of about where it's been standing. You can see the lap times are really in lockstep with each other now as the night has come down. They're both running a 3:43 on their last lap. So Visceral Racing Group in P3. They've been having some trouble with the car. Here about an hour ago, they were behind the wall working on the car. What time were you in the car at BIR on Sunday? Yeah, I was in the last stint. I'm surprised you knew that, Doc.
I picked that up somewhere. I have a lot of useless knowledge in this head of mine.
Perhaps I mentioned it to you. I don't know.
You might have. No, we were rooting you on, Paulie. I don't know if you ever watched the last of the broadcast.
No.
We were cheering you on there, bud.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I mean, after all, you're one of our own, you know.
I appreciate that. I didn't even know you guys were covering. I thought it was just me.
No.
You guys were doing it? I thought that was one of the broadcasts we weren't going to cover.
No, we were following it, though.
Oh, okay. So anyway, cool. So anyway, yeah, Visceral Racing Group in P3, Alchemy Autosport in 4th, Gussick Racing in 5th, Bucket List Brigade in 6th, Roto Pluker in 7th, the Renegades in P8th, Volatile Ram in P9th, Impact Motorsports in 10th, Rusty Rotors in 11th, Utah Valley University in their Mazda is in 12th spot. Let's keep going here. In 13th, Bandits in their Pontiac Trans Am, they're back out turning laps. Maximum Effort Racing in their Infinity in P14. Under Par Racing in 15th.
It's 3 under Par Racing.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, there's a number there.
Yep.
And then Grandpa Bill in that Crown Victoria. Those guys are currently shown in the pits, but they're in P16. Vermont Burt 1 in their Nissan in 17th. Racing Strong Motorsports in 18th. Now they're in the pits right now, but they're just getting ready to go back out here in a little bit. Alchemy Racers in 19th. Willwood Racing with their Miata, they're back out turning laps in 20th. Tachophobic, not turning laps right now in their Mustang in 21st. Steel is Cheaper Than Engineering, they're not turning laps either in 22nd. And answer is always Miata in 23rd with Farce India sitting in 24th spot at the end.
Yeah.
So looking at A-Class, sponsored by DiscoveryParts.com. Alchemy Autosport out front with Gussick Racing and the Renegades in P3.
That's
the
been
B-Class
a close battle.
Yeah. To B-Class, it's Roto Pluker, Volatile Ram, Rusty Rotors, and Vermont Burt 1. And looking at C-Class, it's R-Bank Racing, Visceral Racing Group, Bucket List Brigade, Impact Motorsports, Maximum Effort, Under Par Racing, Racing Strong Motorsports, and Steel is Cheaper Than Engineering. Into D-Class, Son of Andre out front with Bandits and their Pontiac Trans Am in 2nd, Grandpa Bill in 3rd, Tachophobic Racing in 4th.
And we have, strangely enough, no EC cars.
We have no EC cars. So yeah, there may be something like 19 cars on track right now, Andy. Oh, you think you were trying to... Were you in the white E36? No, Joe, I was in an orange one. I don't think anybody was following us. We were pretty strong. There was only one car on the race, 1 or 2 cars on the track that could keep up with us. There was the Miata PI and the Junk in the Trunk black BMW were the only 2 that were able to keep up with us. So, what car were you driving, Joe? Maybe I can remember.
Oh. White E36 318.
No, he's asking if I was in it. I think I was trying to follow you learn the track. Oh, we were in the Whitey. Okay.
No,
We were
he's
in
saying
the-
I was following you.
Yeah, he
trying to learn
was.
the track, and we were in the white.
We were in the 318. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know. You may have been. You were in the white one. Okay, I apologize. I misunderstood. Yeah, you may have been, especially early in the stint. I was still trying to learn the track, so I was off the pace for a while. So that could be. What's crazy is that I was trying to learn it too, man. So the blind leading the blind. Here we go.
Ah, kind of like the broadcast.
Yeah. If you only would have known who was in that car, like, okay, forget that. Whatever he does, I'm not doing that.
Well, like I told my drivers, like, you know, if you want to follow another car and learn the track, you're more than welcome to. But I will tell you, if he makes a mistake, you're going to make the same one. Your call, babe. You know.
Yeah, so we're out here just coming up to the top of the hour, right at the halfway mark. Some of the issues that have been developing around the track. First, there's been a fire that's been brewing off of one of the mountain tops that's casting a haze over the whole valley area out there. That's one issue. Another issue is, as nightfall became us, the lap times slowed about 30 seconds a lap as teams found it difficult to stay on the racetrack. There were a lot of cars going off, which kicked up a lot of dust. You think you were a second faster? Okay. So we were seeing that going as well.
I think that's our VW on pit row there.
Yeah, that's the VW Webbit. What was the team name of your car, Joe? Because I think the only cars that were running as quick as we were the Miata PI and the Junk in the Trunk team with that M50. Then there was a Miata team that was they were in second spot, back about 35 seconds, and they were running about a second a lap slower. So they were pretty close to on par with our good times. Yeah, the Donnybrook's pretty hair-raising racetrack. Those first couple corners are pretty interesting. Gorilla sticker. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's usually a pretty fast car.
Okay. We had it. I had some fantastic communications with the pits. We had a race strategy worked out. They were telling me what times they wanted me to turn. So they had me out turning 204s, I think it was. And then they had me go to 205s and then 206s if I wanted to. We just kind of kept backing it off. We were watching P2 and just kind of racing, adjusting ourselves a little bit that way. And it was interesting.
Like 30 seconds or something like that.
Yeah.
And you were kind of keeping them there.
Right. That was kind of the plan, was just go out and just drive the car. No heroics. Let's not throw it away. So be cautious around, approaching other drivers and that kind of thing. But it was really interesting. It was fun. I had a great time working with those guys. It was a little bit of different approach than what I've been exposed to in the past. With that kind of that level of coaching, it was cool. Hey Nathan, Yeah, Transcendental Miata. That was the team that we're basically racing them.
Milan. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Milan they were quicker, but they had suffered that axle failure, so they weren't really in the race with us anymore. They were back quite a ways. So yeah, that situation was really interesting. I had a good conversation with the driver and her mother. So it was a female driver, and she had set the lap record, the track record out there in her car for a brief moment, her dad had told me. And then the guy that was behind her took the lap record away from her. So she had it for like half a second. And then the guy behind her was drafting her and picked off the quickest lap time away from her.
That's mean. That is mean.
But that was a pretty quick team. The mother drove the car, the dad drove the car, and so did this young lady.
There's Bill on pit row.
Oh, yeah. Why did it look like he was pulling back into the... I wonder if he's coming behind the wall with it.
I don't think so.
Did it look like he was going straight through to you?
No.
It looked to me like he was coming... Because his pit box is down there a ways, I believe.
Well, with all the reflections, it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they're coming and going at the same time.
But yeah, no, I had a lot of fun with that. That whole experience was cool. It seems like what you guys were doing was a lot of what I would like to see done with like my team and the other teams that I've worked with, but they never do that. They never go to that level. So it was really refreshing to be a part of that. That was cool. Again, I guess I take it a little too serious, but I don't know. That's how I have fun. That's the way I enjoy it.
Hey, whatever trips your trigger, buddy.
Yeah.
And that shows what a good driver you are too. If they're able to tell you what laps they want you to turn, and you're able to do that, not overdo it, not underdo it. That not
I was
everybody's
close.
to that.
Yeah, I think they could see. Yeah. It was just working. It just happened to work out well. He had come on the radio and said, "Hey, I need this," and by that time I had worked up to the point where I could give him that. And then he's like, "Okay, this is good. Keep doing that." I'm like, "Well, fine. If I don't need to push any harder, then Jackie Stewart, I'm going to try to win the race going as slow as possible."
Slow as possible, yep.
And so I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm going to try and stick to that." I did try to clip off a little bit of time here and there, and I think I did on a couple laps. What would happen is I'd get held up by somebody a little bit, so then I'd try to crank it for the rest of that lap to catch back up on my lap time. But for the most part, hey, it all worked out. Everybody was happy. We got the win, and we brought the car home in one piece. So, yeah.
That's a major accomplishment.
That was a good race.
Well,
that was
the
a good
owner
race.
always appreciates that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got into contact with another car the day before, and I was really disappointed about that and just really grateful that it didn't seriously damage the car. So I was like, oh, man. Yeah, I don't know how in the world they did that. At 1.6, they were just great drivers. I think the dad was running lap times right there with his daughter, maybe just a little bit quicker. And I think we were all pretty slack-jawed that little 1.6-liter Miata was doing so well on the Donnybrook. It's a head-scratch. It's like, how in the world did they make that happen? But they must have been just cranking through those corners. That car must have been so well hooked up to make that happen. Because they were losing it on the straightaway. Had to have been.
Hey, we're on the downside of 24 hours.
Okay. Stop for a quick commercial break, and we'll come back and pick it up, folks. Yeah, we'll do that. Stay with us. All right, so looking at things as they stand right now, Son of Andre up front in their 89 Ford Mustang. We've got R-Bank Racing in P2, back about 5 laps. We've got Visceral Racing Group in their Porsche 944 in P3. We've got Alchemy Autosport, formerly Miata PI, in P4th. Gussick Racing in P5th. Looks like they're in the pits right now. We've got Bucket List Brigade in P6. And Autosport Pluker in 7th. In 8th, it's the Renegades. In 9th, Volatile Ram. In 10th, Impact Motorsports. And their 95 325i. So as things started out today, early on, we had Racing Strong Motorsports in the pits with a fuel pump related issue. They got that resolved, got the car back out. As they were finishing up their third stint, they had an axle hub outer shear off, and it did a lot of damaged the hub, damaged the axle. They spent 6 hours behind the wall fixing that, got the car back out around close to 5:30. It was about 5:25 local time here, Eastern Standard Time, and got the car back out. Bill was in the car, drove for about an hour, started getting hot, cool suit wasn't working. They brought him back in. They were working on that car to get the cool suit working properly and get him some time just to cool off in the car. And it looks like it is turning laps again. So they're back out with that car. Tachophobic had some problems early on with the distributor issues apparently. And they haven't really ever recovered from that. They're still shown not turning laps. So it looks like they may have retired that car for the race. We'll keep an eye on them. That's about it. We've seen what looked like a quick unscheduled pit stop for R-Bank Racing. They got that car back out there. We had a unscheduled pit stop with drivability issues with Visceral Racing Group. They've lost control of the car a couple of times, spun, got the car back on track. Everything seemed to be okay with it though. So they're out there turning laps. Even though they were behind the wall for a short time, they still were able to get back out on track and still retain third place. And one of the incidents we were watching from on board the Visceral Racing Group Porsche was the Bandits Trans Am. In this situation, under braking, they lose control of the car and it darts rapidly to the right, heads off track. Kind of a scary situation, but they were able to get the car back on track fairly quickly, and they were never shown as having been down, so apparently they didn't even need to pit as a result of that situation. So
what, the 7 car?
The Bandits machine.
No, I think we surmised that they might have come in.
Well, they came in afterwards,
Several
obviously,
laps
for the
there.
power steering issue.
Yeah, and we don't know if that off caused that. It's possible they knocked a line loose. I don't know what it's like to go offline here or off the track. I don't know if it's bumpy or...
Right. Making some notes here.
A lot of cars on pit road right now. Or it just looks like them with those lights.
Yep. We've got cars coming into the pits. Lights were required on by 8 o'clock.
Well, and this
local
is
time.
Stop, so
we've got cars progressing down the pits, heading into their pit stalls.
Well, that's a car going the wrong way on pit row.
It's either, or is it in the reflection?
It looks too bright to be the reflection, but maybe it is.
It sure does. It sure does. It looks like they're sitting in the wrong, but they came in just as that other car was coming to a stop, too. And, you know, the other thing about the pits is it's almost scary how poorly lit it is.
Yeah, there ain't a whole lot of lights out there.
You got a guy walking across the pits out to the wall.
His shadow looks like he's a monster.
And it almost looks like there's other people already over that wall, but I don't know. It's kind of bizarre. We're again, we're looking through a plate glass window. There's reflections, there's shadows. We don't really know what we're looking at.
And we certainly don't know what we're talking about.
We definitely don't know what we're talking about. Put those two together, and you've got a great broadcast.
I'm telling you.
Or at least a really poor Seinfeld episode.
I can't tell if he's reversed or not. If that's a reflection we're looking at, I can see the Canadian flag pretty clearly, and it looks lit.
Why the heck would you pull up like that?
I mean, don't know.
You'd want to come around.
I would like to think that our race director would not be amused.
What?
If you look at that Canadian flag, it looks lit.
Yeah, but I don't think that's with his headlights. Do you?
I don't know.
I thought he turned them off.
Look, yeah, he turned the lights off, but I think it is a reflection. He's just right off the camera on the right.
All right.
That's my guess.
It's
Bucket
just
List
bizarre.
Brigade in the pits right now. So that might be them.
That was Bill Strong.
You identify your whole name, sir?
Yeah.
Rank, serial number?
William David Strong, Jr.
So you're out of the car.
Yeah, I had to. I was making really stupid. Our cool shirt stopped working.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it. I was cooking, basically. This track is so much work, and if you make a small mistake in your turn-in points, it just messes up all the way to the finish line. I mean, it's so bad. I don't know, Troy. I don't know if I was on air or whatever, but Troy was telling me, what's going on. Well, you can't think. I can't think and drive at the same time. Talk and drive at the same time. But it's I'm not like Kevin Tooley, who can give you a dissertation on where every piece of rock is on the track.
Right.
But it was tough, and it seemed like every corner I took, there's a huge dust cloud. And that just made it worse because you're trying to find where your turning points are. And then there were, once it got really dark, there's reflectors on the track, on the side. And my mind told me to use those as turning points. Well, they're not. The turning point is maybe 30 yards further down. But there was a couple times I basically got the rear of the MR2 sideways because I was coming in so hard. And then I had to basically jigsaw the car to the right and then back to the left to get in the proper line. But oh my goodness. And then I think I came out of the car because I went off twice, or maybe it might have been 3 times under yellow. I don't know. I'm overheated. I'm drinking. So Troy's getting into the car now. Oh shoot, I didn't do the camera. I'll get some cameras. Let me get cooled down and
yeah, absolutely. Take care of yourself.
And I'll go get some new cameras built. And we'll put them in some cars. How many cameras we got, guys?
We have one.
Where's that one?
This is Memphis Rolls Race.
it's the one looking at the pits. The one that's looking. It's camera 3.
This gone.
Yeah, we don't have anything in car. We just have this. The Tower Cam 3 is what we have. So that one's working great.
Yeah.
There, I turned it so you can see the line of the procession of cars coming down. Let me see if I can get the other one.
So are we under yellow?
Yes, we are under yellow, full course yellow. I don't know why, but a van has gone out.
Oh, okay. That's not showing up on our.
Hold on, let me.
Our feeds.
Go ask.
Okay.
How long have we been full course yellow? Who knows?
About 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Okay.
That's weird. That's strange. I think somebody on our end has to tell them that it's yellow. That might be what's happening. It's not happening because we're too busy. I think this has happened before.
Yeah, because it's still showing green on race monitor too.
Okay, I got why. We're under corner worker shift change.
Oh, okay.
Corner worker shift change. They'll be going back to green in about 3 minutes or so. Yeah, dudes. This is one tough track. I rank it up there with Calabogie as being the hardest for me to learn. I mean, my guys went out there and pretty much learned it really quick, but I'm not that great of a track. I have to just keep going lap after lap after lap after lap to learn a track.
I think everybody.
When I thought I was doing good, I thought that there's a couple of complexes that I got perfect. I think the aim was showing me good times, and I was increasing speed. And then there's that high speed straightaway right-hander, left-hander in the middle. I don't know where I don't know where I need a track map to see, but it's I got that down really good a couple of times. But in my car, you have to really trust the aero, and I could not trust the aero. Every time I felt the car plant, my mind told me, no, don't do this. This is going to hurt. And I would tap the brakes. So and then that would slow the car down, and then the aero would go away. So, and that just made it worse. There was a couple of spots like that. Turn 1, I saw the way that Visceral took turn 1. I saw the way the Mustang took turn 1, and the fast Mustang. And who else? Oh, no, did I see Robin? No, not Robin. But they took it pretty much. They tapped the brakes to make the car turn in, and they were late apexing it and just flying through there. I couldn't do that. It was like every time my mind told me to turn in too early, which screwed me up for the next, for the exit. Just put me too wide. So,
right.
I know a lot of guys out there going, "Oh, I can do this stuff good," and you probably can. I'm getting to the point where I'm not racing as much anymore. So, and that that hurts. You have to race all the time. Ask Randy Popes about that.
Well, from what I've heard, it's difficult for everybody, and we've seen it, Bill, in the camera footage. The guys are really struggling with the track. It's taking them. We're looking at the lap times, and everybody's going out, spending most of their stint trying to get the track figured out. So I don't think your experience is necessarily that different from everybody else. Where we're hearing a lot from Troy, for instance, is there's. And from Evan is there's no reference points to really help you. You just have to sit out there and grind on it. Of course, like we brought up, the lap is so long. It's the longest lap that we run in the series, that even after being out there for a half hour, you've only run 10 laps.
Right.
So you're by the time you get back around to the areas you're having trouble with, it's been 3.5 minutes. And you can't remember what the hell you did.
Exactly.
Whether it was right or not.
There was one point. Yeah. There was there's a couple. You see 8. You know what to do when you see corner 8. That was for when you go in. I think it's 8. It's the chicane, basically the S's. You come up over a hill, make a left, then you make a right and another left, and it's pretty quick. That's 18. Okay. Yeah, I knew there was an 8 in there.
17, 18.
Yeah. So that was fun. And I got that down a few times. So one time towards the end of my stint, like I said, I was so overheated. And Troy is getting ready to go out. So I was so overheated that I almost went straight off. I don't know what I was thinking. And that's when I said, I need to come in. This is going to hurt me or somebody else. So, and I had Robin Bank behind me right before that, and I was making some. We're back to green, maybe. Nope.
No, you crazy.
Nope. Well, they're turning off their lights. Single. We're local yellow on the home stretch.
Pace car's still out.
Okay. Well, he keeps turning out his light here.
Probably a signal.
Maybe.
I think he only turns it on.
No, what's that?
Those are the track workers.
Okay. All right.
So you guys can see the track's pretty dark from this camera view. So what the plan was is whenever the corner needed to throw a flag, they would light the flag at the corner so that you could see it. And then when they were done, they would turn the light off and pull the flag in.
It's difficult to see because there's a couple of flag stations that you think there would be a flagger, but there's no flagger here. Or there was a flagger there, but there's no light on it. You know, so you're like, well, wait, are we under yellow? Because I remember a light coming on it from some guy, and it was like, I turned the corner, nothing. And then there's no light at the next one. And
yeah, well, I even found that during the day, when the flag stations are fully visible, I found it. They're off the visual line, so you do have to make an effort other than the start finish to make sure that you like.
Radio check. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Got you.
That was radio checking for the driver, not for you.
Hey, Troy, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I can hear you. This because I'm turning up the volume.
Okay, you got two people talking on the radio. One second.
He's talking to me.
Well, I'm watching the other mic on the other handset.
Oh, Mike. Yeah, Mike Chiswick's down to our right, and then 2 rooms over, talking on the radio. So did you hear what happened to our car?
Yeah.
Yeah. Troy gave us the rundown. So
we haven't had that failure since Sebring like 4 years ago. And double, we haven't, and we never lost the tip off of a turbo axle. I don't know what's up with the internet here. It's really bad. It works great on one computer, but not on the other.
So we're under full course caution out here at Utah.
All right, let me go.
A shift change for the corner workers, not for any incident.
I don't know who's yelling and screaming. Who's yelling and screaming?
One of the teams a few garages over who's been struggling with their car running again, finally did so.
Okay, good. I hear it.
Oh.
There goes Troy. Troy's leaving pit lane right now.
Yep.
Hey, tell Phil to get the camera ready.
All right, I'll be back in a second. Step away.
All right, I'm gonna go get a camera for Troy. Troy will come in and we'll put the camera in. So
we're gonna let Bill recover a little bit first.
let me go work on that here in a minute.
This is media station.
Okay.
Overriding.
All right, you guys talk. Come on, Tiffany, talk away.
Who's left to talk to? Is Dog still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yay.
Aw.
Doc, it looks dark out there.
It looks really dark. and I was telling Troy right before he stepped away, it's like I don't feel comfortable racing at night anymore. My eyesight isn't what it used to be. And I'll run Daytona at night because it's not really ever night.
Right, they got a lot of light there.
Yeah. But VIR, Road Atlanta, nope.
That's what I was going to say. Have you ever done VIR at night?
Nope. I've never raced at VIR, actually.
No?
No.
I did the 24 a couple of years back. It was like almost amp miserable, not quite, but almost. It rained for 23 hours of the 24-hour race.
That was in 2014.
Yeah, that was
because
terrible.
We were supposed to do that race, and the guy that built our car didn't have it ready. So it cost me a lot of money. I mean, I couldn't sell my hotel rooms. I lost my entry fee, and so we did. We pushed it back and did Sebring.
But you were dry, and there was nobody else there that was dry.
Right.
At all. I actually got to the point where I took Walmart bags and was tying them around my shoes and my and my bottom of my race suit, so it wouldn't just be like sopping wet. I wouldn't be like my feet wouldn't slide.
I'm not really wild about racing in the rain anyway. And that goes back to my motorcycle days. I never felt comfortable in the rain.
It was rainy, it was dark, and it was actually, because we run the 24-hour in August, right? So I was expecting hot, be careful, it's going to be hot, etc. We were freezing. It was August.
Yeah, what the hell?
I was like, what is this place we have found ourselves in?
Yes, what kind of cruel joke is this? What kind of cruel joke is this?
This is a vortex of weather anomalies. It was super chilly though. So about 19 hours in, when Casey went off track and tore the car up real nicely, we all just decided we were okay with that. just cracked a beer and just okay.
Well,
don't
crap
have to do it
happens.
anymore.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, but it's all for the best.
Right.
All right, I'm going to stand up and stretch myself.
Okay. So we had the MSR Houston race early this morning. It started at 7:30 local time, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And we caught the beginning of that race, first couple 2-3 hours before we broke away to go to the Utah race. And we kept an eye on the race to its conclusion. And it was the 9-4 Motorsports team that swept 1 and 2 with both of their team cars out there this weekend, with the Toyota taking the win by 0.3 of a second over their sister car, the Lexus Coupe.
That looks like that could be a fun
shots
little
fired in P3. Yeah, it's a faster racetrack than the Utah track. You know, you don't have as many braking zones that slow the car down as much. So it's a relatively quick racetrack.
Maybe some higher speed turns there going on.
More straight sections too, you know, where you're able to keep your speed up. Mechanical problems, my first stint there. Wasn't until the dark and the rain. After I got going, it was one of my favorite stints. Yeah, I mean, I hear you, Andy. I had a... Sometimes in Jeff's, you know, I love running in the wet. I do too. I've run in the wet in various conditions. I've raced at Road America. Where else? Gingerman and Watkins Glen. There was probably some other places too, but maybe one other place or something where I raced in the wet. And the level of enjoyment that I got depended on the situation. I had the most amount of fun at Watkins Glen, hands down. I think I've been racing for 30 years. It's the best race I've ever had as far as level of enjoyment. The competition in the wet was absolutely fantastic.
Just equally matched with competitors, kind of?
I think so, I guess. It just brought us more together so we could battle. And our car was working really well in the rain. Mm-hmm. So I was going around the outside and passing people, and it was just great. It was just really fun. Silly. I mean, it was so much fun. Then, you know, at Road America in the rain, it was about the same. It was a lot of fun. That was in a Miata. It was a different experience. A little more sketchy, I guess. And then at Gingerman, the car was hydroplaning. It was raining very hard. The wipers weren't working, and the windshield was fogging over. And I was in fourth place at the time, and I refused to come in because I didn't want to give up that spot. And the lightning got so bad they finally black flagged us and brought us in. But that was not really as much fun as it was just you're just trying to power through it. You know, you weren't really having fun. A little bit, because it was difficult to see. You know, and you're actually not just driving in the rain; you're trying to race at the same time.
Right.
So yeah, the stress level's up a little bit, but so I guess it just depends on the circumstances. Yeah, I think what you're faced with. So that's why I think some guys say, "Oh, I hate racing in the rain." Others like, "No, man, it's like the best experience ever." It can be. It definitely can be.
I mean, it's way better when you're in the rain and your previous drivers have left you some tires. You're not getting in the car on old worn out tires and it's raining, right? That's a little.
That was one of the concerns that the guys had, because we knew rain was coming on Sunday at Watkins Glen, and it ended up being like almost the whole day. And Saturday was dry. We had run the car really hard. The tires were basically new when we got there. We had run them at Daytona, but the guys were concerned because we had run a lot of tread off the tires. And I'll tell you, though, I drove in the third stint, and they were fantastic. It's just like Andy's experience. It's like, yes, the Saturn and the Bridgestones were awesome combo in the wet, and he had the same type of experience that I had at Watkins Glen. Is that when you got out there, you felt like you had a little bit of a leg up. You weren't just falling behind and getting killed out there because you were in the wet. You felt like you had a little bit of a leg up on the other guys, because you were in the wet. And I think that's what ups the enjoyment level, when you feel like you're, somehow you have an advantage somehow for being in the wet.
And you're passing people instead of getting passed.
Absolutely. You're catching and passing people, and I guarantee you that's what Andy, you could tell by the language in that message, that's exactly, he was like, hey, those tires were great in the wet. I loved it. It's because, you had a leg up.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we do this. We like catching and passing people, right? I mean,
sure.
That's like
sure.
At the heart of it.
I kind of like, for me, it's, I'm not like, if you remember that old video game called Pole Position.
Oh, hell yeah, I love Pole.
And you're just passing everybody. Some guys like that. That's not me. I want the dog fights. I want 3-4 of us together, just round robin, man. Everybody's dog fighting for it, finding an advantage. One guy makes a mistake, you pounce on it, you get by, and then he's following you for 3 laps, and then you make a little mistake, and bam, he gets you, or that kind of stuff. That's what I hunger for, and that's why I like racing a Champ Car, because we've got so many cars in our fields. We have the thickest fields in the industry, so I know I can go out at these racetracks, and I'm more likely to end up in a really good race, as opposed to going out and you can't put 2 cars together, Right. So that's for me at my stage of racing. That's what I like. I like finding the guys I can go out there and fight with. It doesn't matter even necessarily what position I'm in. If I'm in a slower car, that's okay. If I can go out and I've got somebody to really fight with, I'm going to have a good time.
Right. It's always good to have somebody to play with. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I like reeling them in, where you can
see that's the part I like.
Getting the advantage. Okay, I'm catching up with them. Oh, I screwed that up. They got a little away from me. Okay, wait. Now this is bad. That reeling them in. Okay, a little bit at a time.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you make a mistake and they pass you and get by you, then you got to start all over again.
Dang it, I got to do this all over again. You
spend the whole stint chasing this dude down again, trying to get back, and you feel like you've done nothing. I've had that. I had it happen to me at Autobahn. I had passed these 4 guys, and it took me an hour to get by them, and then somebody ran me off the track. And they went right by me, and I spent the next hour chasing them back down and passing them. It's like, not that I didn't, I think I got by them again, but still it was like, man, I spent 2 hours chasing these 4 guys, and now I came into the pits. I don't know what that was all about. What did I do? What did I really accomplish?
Right. Just logging laps.
I mean, it was okay, but it's frustrating when you lose all that time in the matter of 30 seconds. You got to start all over again.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sport that we enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Good competition. Yeah.
Great work as always, guys. Thanks. Anyone getting some sleep later? I've been asleep for the last 2.5 hours. I don't know what these guys are doing.
This is all a recording beep.
Yeah, we figured it out, Romer. We figured it out. Most people only watch the broadcast for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Therefore, we can make 30 minutes of recording and just put it on a loop.
Just put it on a loop. Yeah.
And they will never know the difference.
No, it's really simple.
The average
Bill
person has
comes
a very
along.
short attention span.
Yeah, Bill comes along, not in on the game, and blows it all.
Right.
It's like,
Messing
you
up
see,
my naps.
we got this system. That's like one of the guys said earlier, that the audio modulation on our Stinger that introduces the broadcast and everything is a little bit louder. I kind of like that because it wakes me up.
Romer's like, yeah, smart people. I like that. You have a lot of time on your hands when you're doing these broadcasts. You begin to think of ways to get out of doing work.
to keep yourself amused.
It takes a lot of work to get out of doing all this work. Looks like that might be the Crown Vic in the pits right now. You can see, like, I don't know if it must be what's on the screen, but it almost looks like there's smoke in the pits, but it's not going anywhere. So I think it's just what's on the window pane.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Called me over the radio, said she's hydroplaning.
Yeah, that's a pretty funny story.
I'm trying to read it.
You want me to read it?
A lot of seconds going before the past 140. 20 seconds faster than everybody else in the rain.
Only only few drivers could get away with that.
Well, it's like with my dad. I'd bought a high performance motorcycle from my dad. It's a VF 1000R, which is a 1985 vintage race bike. It's not a race bike, but it's a street bike.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's got the fairings and all that. So yeah, Doc, I used to have that bike. Well, my dad had it first, and then he was going to sell it. I said, wait. Let me buy it from you. We'll keep it in the family that way.
Right.
So I buy it off of him, and I drive it for a while, and he comes over one day, and we're talking. He said, yeah, I don't know. The bike just doesn't seem to work really well. It doesn't turn real well until you get over 120, and then it settles right down, and it's fine. But I'm not real comfortable on the bike. You got to get over that 120. I'm thinking, what are you even talking about? I'm not going to drive a motorcycle at 120 mile an hour. I would never do that.
No, Paulie. Life begins on a motorcycle at about 150.
That's my dad. He's crazy.
I love that stuff.
Yeah. My favorite story, one of my favorite stories, I have two really good stories of my dad, so since we got a little bit of time, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
story number one, I think I've told you this story before, but they're still good. They're still good. So my dad's out on his bike. This is a different bike, because after he sold the bike to me, he went out and bought another one. So this is a different bike, and this is only a couple years ago, so he's in his 70s. So he's out driving around, and he goes blasting off. Light turns green. He's here in town, just down from the street here where I live. My dad lives pretty close to me. Goes blasting down. Cop sees it, stops and pulls him over. going way too fast. Cop walks up behind my dad. Dad takes his helmet off. As soon as he takes his helmet off, if you haven't seen the pictures of my dad, he's got this amazing gray hair.
Right.
Flowing gray hair. And the cop looks at him and was like, he had no idea. The guy driving, he looks like, you know better than that.
Oh, you damn sure should.
Oh, it's great. I love that. I love that story. The other one that's really funny, I think I was about, I was probably like 9 or 10 years old. It wasn't so funny to me at the time, but now looking back, it gets funnier and funnier as time goes on. So
A lot of stupid shit you do does.
it was really funny to me. I mean, you got to put it in context. This was probably, I'm 9 years old. This would have been 1978. So I get in the car. We're going to go somewhere with him, and he's got this car that he's been kind of pseudo putting together. It's a 510.
All right.
So I get in the car, and he's got a lap belt that he put in for the driver. There's no seat belt for the passenger. Okay. Now again, back in '79, whatever it was, you didn't really wear a seat belt all the time. It wasn't real common.
Optional.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Dad puts this. He's got this lap belt that's actually out of a race car. The old hook and loop thing, you know, where you pull the bar over and
I
latch
hate
it.
those things.
So he puts that on. He looks over at me, and I don't have a seat belt. He just says to me, in all seriousness, "I live, you die." I know he was joking, but he played it serious, and it was funny. But the older I get, it becomes more and more funny.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I love those stories. They're great.
He
So
said, I live, you die to a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
Well, you know, life used to be tougher.
I mean, if you survived the 70s, you earned your way through, right? I mean,
Thank
that's the way
you.
it worked.
Yeah. We used to sleep in the back of the station wagons, right?
Oh, yeah.
Driving down the road.
Hell yeah.
No
In the
problem.
Window, like your
The
your
back
parents
shelf
would
in the window.
Yeah, they'd hit the brakes
Absolutely.
and you go flying through the car.
Absolutely. I used to lay up on that back shelf on the 510, in the 510 on that back window. I don't know how you can fit a kid back there, but I did it. Of course, this was back before they had third brake lights, so that shelf was open.
Right? That was prime kid area.
Yeah, man.
All right.
I used to ride in the center of the seat in the back, so you had your feet straddling the transmission drive shaft hump.
Right.
And you'd look out the front. Well, of course, that's a terrible place to sit in an accident, but, you know.
Yeah. I live, you die.
Yeah. My mom had the patented, if you're sitting next to her, she steps on the brakes hard for something,
And
the arm
hand
swings
comes
out.
Yep.
Like I'm going to keep you from hitting the dash.
Absolutely.
'Cause it's not like you're, wearing a seatbelt.
No. Nope, mom was a seatbelt.
Yeah.
Just made sure your mom's reaction.
I don't think there's a mom in the United States in 1978 that didn't know how to do that.
Right.
Right.
No, it was automatic.
The mom belt.
What's really
Kenny.
Yeah. What's really scary is, of course, she was turning because the left hand's out the window to signal. There's no hands on the steering wheel.
Wait, Romer said he's watching Spa 24 and us at the same time. I'm ignorant. I didn't know Spa had a 24 going on.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of 24-hour races overseas.
Oh, thank you, Brian. See, I'll just have the coffee. See? I got to work on my delivery. Apparently, it's scoring better out there than it is in here.
Yeah, that's an external joke. I've got a long joke too that's got a pretty good payoff.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right, you want to hear it?
Yeah.
So there's this college kid. He goes over to Africa on a safari, and it's pretty much out there by himself, and checking out and everything. And he comes across an elephant, and the elephant is down on the ground, and it looks to be in distress. So sure enough, he looks around and he sees that the elephant has stepped on the big branch of a tree, and the tree has impaled his. What's an elephant have? It's not a hoof. It's his
trunk.
His toes, like his foot.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, and he's impaled himself on this branch of this tree. So he decides, I can't leave this elephant to suffer, so I'm trying to help. And so sure enough, he gets up to the elephant, and the elephant's kind of looking at him, what are you doing kind of thing. Well, he works around. He works for about an hour and finally frees this elephant from this branch that he's impaled himself on. And the elephant kind of staggers to his feet, and raises his trunk up, and trumpets wildly and everything, and kind of nuzzles up to the guy, and then trumpets again, and then goes thundering off into the jungle. And the guy was, profoundly impressed. The elephants are very smart, and the elephant seemed to realize that the guy had helped him out of the jam he found himself in. So his story kind of kept with the guy, and he told it over the years. And he grew up to be an older man, and one day he took his young son to the zoo, and so they're going by the elephant enclosure, and they're looking at the elephants, and finally this one elephant really kind of more or less makes eye contact with him, and trumpets wildly, and stomps his foot just like this elephant had done in the past, and comes up kind of to the barrier. He can't get to him. There's a big moat and everything, but and triumphs again, and then kind of runs off. And the guy says, that's amazing. That's the same thing he recalls the elephant doing out in the bush. So and the elephant comes back again in a few minutes, does the same exact thing. And the guy says, this is incredible. This is probably this is the same elephant that I rescued from the jungle years ago. So the guy says something stupid, and he climbs over the fence, and he comes up to the elephant. The elephant trumpets wildly, comes down with his foot, crushes the guy to death. And, it probably wasn't the same elephant.
Probably wasn't the same elephant.
There's a lot of people that Oh, wait a minute. Here comes...
So this is what you get, folks, late at night.
It looks like Racing Strong might have come into the pits.
Yeah, I saw that.
A lot of people practice the catch and release of fish.
Right.
Have you ever thought that maybe the fish go back to their colony and they tell this wild story about being abducted by aliens and thrown back?
Right. I
And the
thought the
fish-
only person who thought about that.
The fish think they're all crazy. They're out of their mind. They can't be on the right planet to be thinking that, they're not in their right mind.
So they don't talk to him again.
You ever thought about that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Rocky Mountain 24 here with the Champ Car Endurance Series presented by RVA Graphics and Wraps. We're 11 hours and 15 minutes remaining in this contest. It is 12:45 Eastern Standard Time. That makes it, about 11:45, 10:45, 10, 11, 12. Yeah.
10:45.
10:45 Mountain Time. My dog has no nose.
What does that mean?
That's got to be a punchline.
How does he smell?
I'm waiting for it.
Badly.
Come on, Brian. Type quicker.
Awful. There it is.
It took me just that long to get that joke.
Which one?
His joke.
Oh, his joke? Okay.
Oh, God. This is a new low.
How do y'all remember those long jokes like that? I can't. I mean, if they're not a one-liner.
God, I used to know 1,000 jokes.
There's just a few left stuck in the cupboard on the walls.
Yeah. Haul them out and parade them in front of the people that haven't heard them before.
Somebody told me one recently. It said, how many therapists does it take to change a light bulb?
The light bulb has to want to change.
Yeah, it takes one, but the light bulb still has to want to change. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like that's the hamburger helper joke.
Mm-hmm.
That you can't use can't use hamburger helper until the hamburger knows that it needs to be helped.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hamburger has to admit that it needs to be helped before you can use hamburger helper. Yeah.
Hamburger's going to have to hit rock bottom.
That's right.
Well, the broadcast is already there.
Congratulations.
I'm
We
glad I can help
qualify.
out.
Speaking of needing help, yeah.
Son of Audrey down up 5 laps on our bank racing. Still holding strong out there with those a 3:39 their last lap through 3:37 for the leader.
Oh, yeah, we're supposed to be covering a race, aren't we?
And we've got Visceral Racing Group still in P3 after having to stop and deal with a drivability issue, as we call it in the automotive service industry. Simply means the car wasn't running right, and they had to get it running right. The Gussick Racing in P4. It's the Alchemy Autosport in P5. Bucket List Brigade in P6th. Rotopluker in 7th. The Renegades in P8. Utah Valley University in P9th. Impact Motorsports in 10th.
That's awesome for Utah Valley.
Yeah, they're working their way up through the field.
Yeah, just plugging along.
They're probably going to finish in the top 10 and probably feel like champions when they leave this place.
As well they should.
Just maintaining 24 hours regardless of the size of the field is a huge victory.
Especially for a new team.
Yeah.
And we know they're on a budget.
Yeah. Where's the race? We are at the Utah Motorsports campus. Who's on the air? Paulie along with Doc and Tiffany here tonight. So not much has changed, Kenny. We're still firing away. Yeah, we're at Utah Motorsports campus. There's the racetrack. 23 corners, 28 apexes, 4.5 miles is the distance, and it's anti-clockwise, which is a bit unusual. Most of the tracks we run on are run in clockwise direction. This one anti-clockwise. It can be run in both directions, which is the same as our MSR race that's going on this weekend. We're running that anti-clockwise as well. 2.38 mile road course. We enjoyed watching that race unfold a little bit earlier today, and it was the 9-4 Motorsports pulling off a 1-2 with their team cars, with the Toyota Supra taking the win, just 0.3 of a second ahead of their sister car. They'll be back at it again tomorrow, starting at 7:30 in the morning. It goes green out there in Texas.
I was trying to think of other tracks that run anti-clockwise, and the only ones I can think of are the NASCAR Rovals that we run at. Daytona, Charlotte, and Auto Club.
Yeah, let's see. I'm going to run through them in my head real quick.
Those are the only ones that come instantly to mind.
All right, you guys there?
So, yep, we're here.
Yeah, we've been telling bad jokes.
Oops, sorry.
What,
You've been telling bad jokes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like bad as in not good, not bad as in inappropriate.
No, we haven't gotten to those yet.
Is Paulie on?
Yes, I am. How are you doing? You feeling a little better?
Green. That's all I see.
What's that? You're breaking up there.
You're breaking up.
Oh, Laguna Seca. Thanks, Daryl. Good point. Laguna Seca is anti-clockwise.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I hadn't worked my way out to the West Coast yet, but yes, certainly.
Yeah. I think we lost you, Bill. You're off the bridge. I don't know if you can hear us or not. You're off the reservation and off the bridge. Yep, Laguna Seca is backwards, counterclockwise. Maybe that's just the way it is as you go out west. But Sonoma's clockwise.
Sonoma's clockwise, yeah.
I don't know. What is it that, I mean, when you're building a racetrack, yeah, we can hear you. We're just wondering, what is it in a team, in a company that builds a racetrack, what are they thinking? I want to build it counterclockwise. I wonder at what point, does a track owner, do they decide what direction they want the track to go?
Well, I would suspect.
Why does it matter?
I suspect it would be the lay of the land, right?
Yeah, Bill.
You're like really, really quiet on the bridge.
Oh, really?
I can't hear you.
Can you hear Doc okay?
Hello? Hello?
I mean, you both are at the same volume level.
Maybe you need to turn your phone up?
Let me see if there's.
Oh, wait a minute. I can
on-
hear Polly really well, and I can hear Tiffany very well, and I can hear me very well. It must be you, Bill.
Likewise.
Yeah, Bill, I can hear you really well.
Yeah. I want to check your ears.
Well, that might be it.
Because you sound perfect.
Maybe it's because I'm on power saving mode.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
I've got a bag full of goodies. I'm going to concentrate on getting TC1 up. And then I have some in-car cameras built, and we will put them in the car.
Bill, are you feeling okay? Thanks, Andrea. I don't think he can hear us now. I just don't want him overdoing it.
Yeah.
I know he was kind of green getting out of the car, and I know how that goes. I had that happen to me at NCM, and I could not recover. I could not drive that event. I could work up in the tower just fine, but I was feeling sick the whole weekend. I just couldn't get over it.
AMP is anti-clockwise.
And Coda.
Yeah.
And Andrea's chiming in with Coda.
Yep. And,
thanks, Andrea.
Atlanta Motorsports Park.
What about Sebring? Is that considered?
No, Sebring.
That would be clockwise.
Would it be clockwise?
Yeah.
Yeah, even though turn 1 is off to the left.
Because you're in the pits, you're on the inside of the track, and as you come in, you're coming in clockwise.
Yeah.
Pits are in the middle. Okay. Okay.
It's just interesting, and I don't know at what point, like I said, a track designer decides we're going to go anti-clockwise. I think sometimes it has to do with the terrain.
Yeah,
it seems like there's a lot of.
That's what I would think. The lay of the land.
A lot of tracks get built in such a way they're kind of restricted by what they have to work with.
Right, especially like AMP is in a very hilly location, so there's maybe one good place to put pit row.
Right, they look at the amount of work it would have taken to get everybody inside the racetrack. It's like, forget that. We're just going to leave everybody out, and we'll just run around it, and it's going to be anti-clockwise.
Right.
All right, found the issue.
Thunder Hill is also counterclockwise.
So, Bill, you said you're feeling okay, or not really?
Oh no, I feel good. I'm all right. I'm just wore out, but that was a long trip, and then this, today hasn't been good for me because we thought we'd have the fastest car here,
And then those other damn people showed up.
Yeah. Those Mustangs, I tell you.
Well, those Mustangs are quick. Well, the driver that was in the car, actually the 53 is coming down pit lane. The 53 driver wasn't all that quick. I could keep up with him, but through some of the corners, I was still learning him. So it could have been the driver too. But the son of Andre, he's just badass fast. All right, where are we? Racing strong.
Oh,
I'm going to set up TS1 or TC1. Once I get this up here, let's see if this works. I brought the MiFi up, and we'll run it on Wi-Fi. Not that you can see anything. Oh yeah, so I wanted to tell you guys there's a country and western concert taking place down the road, and The problem with that is they have some really bright lights aimed right at the truck.
Oh, sure. Blame the lighting guy.
Okay, well, look.
Got to do a sensitive area here, Bill.
Let me show you. Okay.
Yeah, we want to use all our toys. I agree. They can be obnoxious as hell.
Bring up TC1. Bring up TC1, and I'll show you those damn lights.
Yeah?
Okay, we got it.
Yeah, those. Actually, that's all of them. They really hurt.
We just need to tell them to put on the barn doors so they don't bother Bill.
Yeah. Close those barn doors down. Unfortunately.
No, when you're going into one, I don't know the corner number, but it's the one before the S's. It's really blinding, and it kind of takes away from you seeing the corner. But you know, you deal with it. But that's why I got out of the car. I didn't want to deal with it. All right, so that's camera. Let me get a power cord on this MiFi. So now we have two cameras. Where do you want to point it, please?
Where you had camera 3 going was great. Just looking at the last corner, that was really good. Yeah,
okay,
Brian, I hear you. Getting sick from carbon monoxide poisoning in a race car. I had something similar like that happen to me. I don't think I got it as bad as you did, but I had that happen to me at Gingerman. It was not fun. It was good to get out of the car and just get some fresh air for a while. I don't think I got off as bad as you did, but I didn't get the poisoning. But I was feeling a little green in the gills.
That's pretty much every day.
What kind of language is that?
Green in fact, the car that we were chasing at BIR and on the comp course had like a former pro driver in it in a BMW, and we thought they were just kind of messing with us, like they were quicker than us, but they weren't trying as hard as they could have. And actually, he had gotten into contact with somebody else on the course, and it had broke the exhaust. They had a side dump exhaust.
Gotcha.
It had broke it, and they had their exhaust pipe like routing through the inside of the car before it would exit.
Oh.
It broke it off, so it was dumping exhaust into the cabin.
Oh, that's
and
not good.
He was getting gassed. But we didn't know that until the race was over. We were in impound. I know my dad has a similar story about getting gassed during a race really bad. Fortunately, I've never had that happen. Yeah.
There goes the Willwood, the 119 Willwood cars headed out of pit lane. They just did a fuel stop and a driver change. The Volkswagen Golf is back in. Sorry, I'm just letting you know so Doc can do his paperwork.
Yep, that's the Wabbit.
And the Golf.
Well,
yeah,
we haven't seen them out for a long time. I didn't realize they were back out.
Okay.
Yeah,
they're on pit lane.
I mean, they've only completed 76 laps.
Is that more than us?
No. You're just in front
76 laps seems like a lot of laps for this track.
Yeah, you guys are shown not turning laps right now for some reason.
Well, I mean, our
leader. I see my car down there with both doors open. Yeah, with both doors open. So I don't know what's going on. Nobody around it.
Troy's cool shirt shit out. So became a massive deal out for a little bit.
More cool shirt issues.
Cool. All right. Yeah, cool shirt issues. So it's really hot out there when you're working. I put on my Champ Car gear. So I'm going to do some cameras. I'm trying to get this other camera working for you. The software just quit on me.
Okay.
You know, turn 23.
There we go. Son of Andre, R Bank Racing, and Visceral Racing Group still holding down the top 3.
Yep, just did my, let's see, 901 has overtaken the 30 car.
Okay, well, we're at the top of the hour, so
I know
we'll take
one
our...
being, Gus Hack Racing. That car's been up in the top 5 virtually all day.
All right, so we're going to take our station break, and we'll be right back after this quick commercial. Be right back. Yeah. Get that. All right, welcome everybody to Tooele Valley, Utah for the Rocky Mountain 24 on Champ Car Live, presented by RVA Graphics and Wraps. It is the Champ Car Endurance Series at Utah Motorsports Campus for our second of 3 24-hour races this year. Polly along with Doc, Bill, and Tiffany. This is our first time at this track, which is a beautiful facility constructed back in 2006. It has multiple configurations. We're running the full course at just under 4.5 miles in length, counterclockwise. It is the longest course on the calendar and the second longest in North America, second only to Thunder Hill's 5-mile road course. Green flag was at 10:09 a.m. Mountain Time this morning, or I guess that would have been yesterday morning, and checkers is today at 10 a.m. Local time, noon Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And in about let's see, this would be about 7 hours. We're going to be picking up the start of the next race at MSR Houston.
Assuming we're still alive.
Hey, I'm not able to send any. Hey, I'm not able to send any video right now.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening. Even Verizon's kind of got offline.
It's probably all those people live streaming that concert.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yes, you're right.
Like
Actually,
Nobody watches the concert anymore. They stream it.
Yeah, true. So I tried to change cameras, and I was getting, and then on the Wi-Fi here, I'm getting the same issues I got with earlier with the Mac. I'm getting it on the PC now, where it won't transmit. Still trying to figure it out.
No problem. We got some time.
Oh, that's right. I was about to get anxious, and then I realized I don't have time. I don't have a reason to be anxious.
I didn't realize you were standing there.
You need time. We got time.
All right, let me go put some cameras in cars. That'll give me something to do.
Okay.
Hold up, I got a story for you.
Hey, yeah, you want to tell me? Or what?
I'll tell you.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to blank you out here.
We could talk about my trophy again, but I feel like
Your
I don't want
still works, Polly, right?
As a matter of fact, it's working very well. Thank you. I don't want to overdo it, you know, my modesty.
Well, that ship sailed, my friend. Hours ago.
Hours ago.
A few gloats ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this camera back here is still flashing red. with a red light on it.
I
It's
love
bizarre.
That. I love that. That cracks me up.
There's no telling how long that's going to flash. It's not real bright. It's just HAL 9000.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You just see it. I mean, I had it sitting up here forever before I realized what was going on. Before I realized that. Wait a minute. So what's funny is my son has got this conspiracy theory. He thinks there's cameras in the house and we're always watching them.
Right.
So in our living room, we've got like a little decoration up on top of my wife's curio cabinet, and there happens to be a little bird, a fake bird up there. And he thinks the eye of the bird is watching him. It's a camera.
Yeah.
And it's watching him, and we're watching him when he's here at the house. So I had to point out that my camera is watching me here. So I'll try this again since we got some time. See if you can see the light flashing on it. Tennis elbow.
The glass is reflecting quite a bit. What a clock? What a clock position is it? Like 6 o'clock?
It's about 7 o'clock. It's the big one. You can see it is flashing there.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
You can kind of see it, don't it? Okay.
Oh.
That's too funny.
Okay, I saw it. Yeah.
Well, Jeff's got a great sense of humor.
Yeah, I liked how he said it was back up.
Yeah.
Closest thing I could get to a groundhog. Yeah, no, it was great.
Oh.
So we'll see when Bill comes back if we're at green. I think we're back up to green. I don't have any cameras working right now, except this one. Oh, wait a minute. It's frozen.
Yeah, that person can't stand that still.
I'll try to go back to it.
Oh, here come the hiccups again. Hang on, be right back.
Okay.
He's been doing a lot of 12-ounce curls.
Well, the clock's running. I'm looking to see. I'm not seeing cars come across the start finish. Oh, there we go. Renegade's just crossed over. Okay. So that's good. So they are still turning laps out there. And our timing and scoring information seems to be jiving between Race Monitor and Race Hero. So Son of Andre leading the race. Our bank in P2, Visor Racing Group in P3. There goes Son of Andre across the start-finish line to start the 202nd lap of this race. Just turned in a 3:33, which is a pretty quick time in the dark. Our bank Racing turned a 3:47 their last time through. Impact Racing comes across the start-finish line. So Bill's going to go down and hook up some cameras, and we'll be able to get some in-car cameras. Hopefully that will be good.
They're starting to work their times, especially Son of Andre, down to like what we were seeing during the day.
Yeah.
When it first got dark, they were, much, higher, and then now they've worked it. I guess they've gotten more accustomed to the dark.
Right. Having to trust where they're going to go. Maybe they can or can't see real well, but they kind of have to learn to track. And I wonder what it's like for a driver who's gone through that transition to where they know the track even at night to come back into the day. I wonder if they're really sharp in the daytime. Like you've it's like working out in a higher altitude. and then you come back down to the place where you're actually going to play the game, and you're just that much better because you've worked out in a much more difficult, challenging environment.
That's a very positive way to think about it. I was thinking more like, yeah, but they'll be 24 hours in at that point in time. They'll probably be exhausted.
Yeah, right. So the last thing I want to do is get back in a race car.
Right. But at least I can see where I'm going. I mean, just regular exhaustion and fatigue just is going to play its toll too. I mean, everybody has been up since yesterday morning, you know. It's going to be way more than 24 hours on the people come tomorrow morning, you know, towards the end of the race.
The 918 car. This should be, this would be the Visceral Racing. And there they are pulling out of the pits now. So Visceral Racing Group currently in P3. We've got a camera working in their car again, thanks to Bill. So although our Wi-Fi, our cellular service is spotty now, at least we've got, we do have eyes on the car.
So it looks like we got Visceral back up, eh?
Yeah, he planted a different car in the camera. And somewhere
camera in the car, or
yes.
Okay.
Now,
Car in the camera.
did I get it backwards? Hard to believe at this hour that I would be getting things wrong.
Yeah.
My accuracy, you know. But we are seeing a lot more frame outs than we were getting before. This kind of goes along with the issues we were having in the towers. So exhaustion will make you tell really bad jokes.
Oh, the oldest joke I know. Two drunks walking down the railroad tracks. One drunk turns to the other and says, this is the longest damn flight of stairs I've ever been on. The other drunk says, I don't mind the length, but these low handrails are killing me.